all the way to 2027. I feel it's a fantastic time to be a girl. There's just so much happening for girls and young people. It just feels like an incredible time, and I'm sure that the global strategy for 2022 to 2027 will be packed with innovative ways of making the girl child's voice even louder and making more impact. So thank you very much for your time and for being here. Just applaud yourself, just to appreciate you. You all look fantastic. And if you're wondering why the city is quiet, not too much traffic, we had Eid al-Maulud celebration over the weekend. There's usually traffic in Abuja, but enjoy today. It's a public holiday. Alright, just to introduce, we have very important personalities with us. You're all very important, but I'll reel out a few people, as you can see on the high table, to start with them. Please help me applaud when I mention the names of our guests. We have Gunvor Kronman, who is the board chair, with us. Good morning, man, and you're welcome. We have Mr. Stephen Omolo, the CEO. You're welcome. We have Rotimi Josiah. Good morning. Mr. Rotimi Josiah is the Regional Director of Plan Western Central Africa. And we have the host. I don't know why you're hiding, sir. It just feels like I will need to move this table. We should see the host. You're in Abuja, Nigeria. We have the country director, Mr. Charles Use, with us. Please applaud him and appreciate him. And all those who are with us here, we also have, I think, Mr. Carlos Rada, country director from Benin. You're welcome. You're welcome back. And here we have from Senegal, Ghana, comfortably seated in the hall. Yes? You're all welcome. And for those who are joining us online from different parts of Africa, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining the event today. And it's our tradition to start off with the national anthem. If you don't mind, please let's all rise for the national anthem. Thank you very much. Can be seated. So get things moving, and I hear we're sticking to the clock. No African time. It means that we're going to stick to the clock of the timing here. And so I'm going to call on the country director, Mr. Charles Usie, to give us a welcome remark, and he's also going to introduce the CEO. You've done that. All right. I've done that already. So, Mr. Charles, you're welcome. The welcome remark. Please, let's applaud him.
Thank you very much, Kimberly. Standing on existing protocol, trying to get it right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning, friends from all over the world. I'm aware we've gone live, and we have all our country offices across the world linking into this event right now. We have friends, partners, colleagues also linking in from different organizations, communities, and groups across the world. So on behalf of Plan International in Nigeria, I want to welcome you very specially to this event. Today is a very special and remarkable day for us. There are very many ways I would have loved to describe what is going to happen today. And it will tell you the answer will become evident if we're running as a lion or as a zebra. What's the difference? The difference is, from the story, the zebra runs away from danger. Whereas the lion runs after the zebra. Plan is not running away from anything. We are running after something. We have a goal, we have a mission, we have a target. We are after something. In the course of this conversation, you will get to understand what we're actually after, what we're running after. And we're running with speed. We're actually in a hurry to do that. So time is of essence for us. We don't have all the time in the world. So we're actually in a haste. There is a sense of urgency to how we work and the way we behave and the way we act. There is a sense of urgency. As we spend the next few hours talking about our strategy today, you will understand how much haste we are in. And another distinguishing factor that I want us to reflect today as we talk about our strategy is the fact that in this same story in the African jungle, from a kilometer away you will identify the zebra because of his stripes. They are unique to the zebra. So also with the lion, the unique features of the lion are unique just to him. The size, the shape, and of course the voice. And as such, today you will see what makes us plan. You will know what makes us distinguished from all other organizations. Why are we planned? Why are we the way we are? Why do we behave the way we are? What makes us behave the way we are? You will find that out today as we begin to unpack this strategy. And in a very significant way, remember that in this same story, the lion and the zebra are not the only animals in the jungle. We have the hyenas, you have the elephants, the snakes, the monkeys, the ones who will distract you, the ones who will stop you. Today we are also cognizant of the fact that we are not the only ones we are not the only players in this field. There are so many other players. As we unpack our strategy today, you will get to find out how we intend to work with other people, to collaborate with other people, and to bring about our vision. Ladies and gentlemen, this is just a snapshot to give you a nice insight into what we're here today. Today we're launching our global strategy as a global organization. And you will understand from different perspectives what it means to us from a global perspective, and the group of people who make up our board, and the group of people who make up what we call the members assembly. You will get a feel of what it means for us to launch a strategy and what their intents, their thoughts and aspirations are. Again today, you will understand that whilst we are a global organization, we are in touch with where the needs are greatest. That is why we are organized into regions and country offices. And you will get to understand as a region, what does it mean or feel like to lead a strategy of this nature. And of course, at country level, leading the team here in Nigeria, I feel really honored and grateful to have the opportunity to bring about this strategy to life in Nigeria for our people. Proudly as a Nigerian, I feel deeply honored to serve at this point in time, when majority of us as Nigerians, of course for many good reasons and for other reasons, are in the spirit of Japa. Why are many of us remaining here to want to add value? Today you will understand why some of us as Nigerians have chosen this path, why we want to remain in Nigeria, to add value. And as I say this, it is the same aspiration that many of my colleagues as country directors, one of them seated here, Carl from our Benin Republic program, is the same aspiration we all have as country directors leading work at different country offices. This is the same aspiration we have, that in the office, in the countries where we are based, we want to bring meaningful, tangible, deep, long-lasting change in the various communities we work and partner with in the various countries we work. So ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great honor to welcome you to this event and to join us in this race. Remember, we're on a journey where we've taken off. It's morning for us and we are running. Thank you for joining us in this race, because we don't want to leave you behind. And that is why, in a very unique way, I have the singular privilege to welcome all the young people and young activists in the hall today. You are the champions. Thank you for coming today to accompany us on this journey. Thank you very much. Thank you for representing this very unique group of young people who want to contribute to change. There are many ways we can do things. We can make change by running away and not being part of the problem. We can make change by identifying with the problems and bringing about solutions. I believe very strongly that your presence here today as young people, as young activists, I believe very strongly that your presence here today means that you're committed, that you want to find change, that you want to contribute to change, that you want to be part of the solutions. Let's explore what that means today. We're going to have very deep conversations today. Let's explore what does it mean to contribute to change. How can I identify with this change for what Plan wants to do? How do I connect with you? What do I do? How can I help? What can I do? What else can I do? On that basis, I've left you with a lot of questions today, and that's what it should feel like. I want to start with many questions so that as we continue the conversation, I hope, I trust, given the leaders I have here who I've worked with, who have inspired me in many ways, I am fully persuaded that you will get answers to your questions. And for those of you who have actually come with solutions as well, we would love to hear your thoughts. We would love to hear your solutions to add to the menu, to the bouquet of what we are pulling together as a strategy to bring about change for girls across the world. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening. Thank you for joining us. It gives me great pleasure, to see all of you and to have you witness this event today out of Nigeria to the world on behalf of Plan International. Thank you very much, Kimberly. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good day.
Okay. Yes. I was instructed to move around so that more people will see me. I thought the podium was high enough. Thank you very much, Mr. Charles. Please, let's applaud him one more time. He said there's so much to see as we unpack and things unravel during the course of the launch of this global strategy. And I look forward to seeing and getting to appreciate also what Plan International has. Would also welcome our guest for some quick opening remarks. But just before we do that, who identifies as a lion? We're running after something now. Lions. I wish I wore my wig, a mane and stuff like that, but it's all good. We're running after something. I would get there. So please, let's applaud and welcome to share with us our purpose, our ambition, our commitment. Let's welcome the CEO, Plan International Nigeria, Mr. Plan International Global. Forgive me for that. Let's start with Plan International Global. You're welcome, sir. Mr. Stephen. I appreciate him.
Wow, this is beautiful. I didn't expect this, I must say. In a positive way, really grateful to see you all. Good morning. Acknowledging the presence, of course, of the board of the chair of the international board. Acknowledging the presence with utmost appreciation, the leadership of Nigeria Plan Office here. Charles, thank you very much for your leadership. Acknowledging the presence of the board of Plan Nigeria. Dr. Nana, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Other board members who are not joining here physically, but perhaps attending virtually. Acknowledging the presence of our very good friend and team leader, Rotimi, our Executive Director for Waka Region. Colleagues who are coming in, working for Plan, family, friends of Plan, those who are here and those who are attending virtually, all our partners, above all, the young people in this room and the thousands of young people attending virtually. Delighted to meet you all. Thank you very much for coming. I want to begin by saying that I like the story that Charles shared with us this morning, the story of the lion and the zebra. I don't know where I fit in. I think that at the end of the day, Charles, I'll come back to you with my own perspective where I fit in. But look, when I began my mission as the team leader for this great organization, one of my very first engagements was with Faith. Faith is a young activist from Nigeria. That was my first formal engagement to have an interview with Faith. So Faith, where you are, I have no clue, but you must, she's here. Oh, wonderful, yes, there's Faith, I didn't know. Okay, great. Good to see you. Faith, you asked me a lot of questions on my first day in office. Imagine, that was my first day in office as a CEO. And there was Faith asking me very tough questions and saying that, Stephen, in your tenure in office as a CEO for Plan International, you will have to remember these 5 things that I'll share with you. So Faith, I'm here today to reiterate some of those issues that you raised with me on my first day in office. You never forget your first day in office. So Faith, I'll never forget you. I'll come back to the issues you raised with me, Faith. But we woke up this morning to a world in crisis. We woke up this morning to the devastating crisis in Ukraine and with the bombings in Ukraine this morning. But I begin with that because the pictures that we saw this morning were pictures of women and girls, pictures of children, some who are casualties, but some who are fleeing yet again that conflict in Ukraine. But we woke up again this morning to a crisis that is latent, a crisis that we see every day and we gloss over and pass by, the crisis of our rights and freedoms infringed every day, especially those rights of girls and the young people. But we wake up this morning to the crisis of Sahel and the crisis in the Horn of Africa, where we see the impacts of climate change disproportionately impacting girls and women. When we have climate change, it means that girls and women eat last in our homesteads. We see that every day. When you have climate change and drought and food insecurity, we know that when girls and women go to fetch water and food, they are confronted with gender-based violence. But we also know that when we don't have a food, and because of the impacts of climate change, that the school dropouts are massive, and those impact girls and young people. But then, I read a beautiful book that I would like to share with you. This book is titled, How Keeping Girls in School Can Help the World. This book is written by Brittany McNamara. Now, I'll be happy to share with you the link of this book. It's a beautiful piece of work because it is reminding us about why we are here today as well. It is reminding us why keeping girls in school potentially can save this world of all those things that I just described. But then, I was in New York last few weeks attending the United Nations General Assembly Summit number 77. That means that in 77 years, every year, world leaders come together to talk. So they were talking 2 weeks ago. But what struck me in that conversation, well, just to be clear, I've never been there 77 times. But what struck me, and doing a bit of research, is one item that they identified that has been consistent in their engagements. That they were calling on all parties and everyone engaged in the humanitarian and development world to ensure that we create measures to protect girls and women from gender-based violence, particularly rape and other forms of sexual abuse. It was a clarion call. But then, here is a sad story. I attended a segment of a meeting where UNAIDS reminded us of these very dark statistics and data I want to share with you. That in sub-Saharan Africa today, 4,000 girls get infected every day from HIV. Now, 4,000 girls get infected every week. Just pause for a moment and think of that. Every week, 4,000 girls. And 6 out of those 7 new infections affect girls between the ages of 15 and 19. But here's the good news. The good news is that when we have girls going to school and include in that curriculum, education curriculum, education, quality education in totality, including comprehensive sexuality education, then we are able to reduce that by 50%. So this is where plan comes in. That background and the context I've given you places us as effective leaders, as champions of girls' rights, girls' equality, but also children's rights. So I'm pleased that the International Board and the Members' Assembly of Plan International approved the global strategy that gives us the platform and the ambition to address this myriad of challenges I've described to you. Our purpose in this global strategy strives for all of us to create a just world that advances children's rights and equality for girls. And that was my driving motivation to join this organization as the CEO. But it goes a step further in outlining the ambition. I like the word ambition because we must have ambition. And our ambition clearly states that all girls standing strong, creating global change. The process that went into that, I will leave that to the chair of the board to share with you. It was a momentous task, and she will help us with that. But I was truly pleased that we landed on that ambition. But here is our aim. Our aim is to reach 200 million girls in the next 5 years. I didn't hear you saying 200 million. Are you out of your minds? 200 million girls in the next 5 years to improve and to ensure that girls are able to learn, that girls are able to lead, that girls are able to decide, and that girls are able to thrive. That is what we want to do. So we have outlined 6 key priorities in this global strategy. So the first is to land on girls' rights and girls' equality is extremely important. And the second is to scale up our humanitarian response, but particularly girls in crisis. The third is to be youth-centered. And Faith, you posed this question to me at the beginning of my tenure in office. What actions do we wish to put in place to ensure that we are a youth-centered organization? And when we start engagements, we'll come back to that. And then the fourth is to ensure that we become locally led and globally connected. And that is why I'm pleased that today we are in Nigeria, trying to work with you all here and to say that Nigeria has to become a strong member of this organization if we really want to land on the whole idea of locally led and globally connected. But the fourth priority as well is to ensure that we improve and use of impact evidence in our programming, in what we do. So to ensure that we are data-driven in our decision-making. But also is to strengthen our partnership, our sponsorship, and optimize the work we do, ensuring that we create those flexible funding and transform sponsorship and to become a champion for children as well in the world. Now, for us to do this, and I know time is out, for us to do this, it means that we need to create a network of young people, a network of volunteers, a network of champions and activists. We need to create partnership. And I'm delighted that we have partners that joined us yesterday and joined us today as well, and the subsequent days, and encouraging the team in Nigeria to ensure that in whatever we do, that we create those partnerships to help us achieve our strategy. So those stories that I shared with you at the beginning, that is the reason that we are here as Plan International in Nigeria, and adapt that to the context in this country to see how we can walk that last mile with the children and girls and the young people in this country. I look forward to our engagement together so that we can explore some of those issues that I've said, but just grateful to be here. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, sir. Please, let's show some appreciation. Applaud him. That's Mr. Stephen Omolo giving us the top opening statement, the strategy for today, and looking at it from the global perspective there. We're going to get other perspective also. I failed to mention that we actually have like a timer in front. The camera guys are blocking it, so Mr. Stephen, I understand that you do not see it. The camera guys will move so that we'll stick to the clock. Exactly. So 5 minutes is programmed. Yes. 5 minutes for each speaker, and we're going to try and stick to that clock. Thank you very much, sir. So we're going to also get to hear our purpose, our vision, our commitment, looking at the perspective from the board, and we'll call on the board chair, Plan International, Gunvor Kroman. Please appreciate her, applaud her.
Thank you so much. What a pleasure and honor to be here with you today. I feel humbled by all the arrangements, Charles, that you have put together with your team during this visit, and this is only the start. The most important, I think, for me as a global board chair is, you said here in the beginning that we are here to give answers, but I'm also looking for answers from you. I'm so much looking forward to the conversations we're going to have about, you know, strategy is, it's like a direction. It's like something out there, a little bit abstract. But when you bring it to life in the local context, bringing your own problems that you want to solve with this strategy, that's when the strategy comes alive. So strategy is only coming alive through dialogue and through mutual learning. And that's why I think this day for us also at the global level, at the board level, is so important, because whatever I learn from you, I will take back to my board to become a better board, to better understand what we're trying to achieve, that Stephen Omolo so nicely put out to us together. So this day is a day about celebration of our new global strategy that was approved in Brussels in June this year. It's also about sharing the ownership with you and making it yours. I want to highlight a couple of things. You know, I have a perspective of 10 years of Plan International from different positions. I would say that what I have seen happening with Plan International during this period is from a quite traditional development North-led organization, we have become today the most important girl rights organization in the world. Can you imagine that? It's a huge responsibility. It's a huge opportunity. Let's use this opportunity together to make the most of it. I will not go into the reasoning why girls are so important. I think we all know that, and Stephen Omolo also touched upon that. But what I wanted to do is to take you through a couple of steps that were important in actually achieving global consensus on the strategy that you have in front of you, and also to highlight a couple of issues that kind of were a little bit difficult and where we need to learn more and understand more. And I think this visit to Nigeria will help us with that as well. So one of the key components in driving the strategy was really to honor the past, to build on what we have done, not to forget all the good things that Plan has done over so long time. We spent a lot of time on dialogue. We spent actually 2 years talking to stakeholders, donors, country offices, but we have a problem, you know, in our organization. We have a problem that, especially from the position where I sit, I mainly talk to the members in the north. So in really truly creating this strategy, something that we can all share, There was one single moment in this dialogue process that was like a turning point for, I think, most of us who attended, and maybe some of you attended as well, and that was the Global Congress. It was the Global Congress where we had a 2-day conversation, or was it 3-day? Maybe it was 3-day. Conversation in different small groups, in bigger auditoriums, with people from all over the world, from all levels of the organization, bringing in their experience, their knowledge, their solutions, their concerns. I think this moment did a huge change. And I think if I would give you one piece of advice in working with the strategy for Nigeria and the rest of WACO, that would be remember the dialogue. Remember to talk to people at all levels of your organizations, your stakeholders, your enemies, your competitors, talk to them, because you will always learn something. Couple of things that were important and a little bit difficult. One was about the humanitarian. We are a traditionally development organization. I know that you in Nigeria have a humanitarian operation, but for the organization as such, humanitarian is new. We need to learn about that. What does locally led mean, as we say in our strategy? We struggle with that. We work on that. We had a very good conversation with the Nigerian board yesterday on how can we together help Nigeria to become an independent member that is locally led, truly locally led, accountable to the people of Nigeria. Truly girls focused, truly gender transformative. We said that in our previous strategy as well. But I think with this new strategy, the strong global confirmation of actually embracing this mission 100%, that was maybe the most important thing with the new strategy. How can we put that to life also here in the WACA region? And then where you come in here, especially, is youth-led. And I think that's really somewhere where we need to learn. You need to teach us. How do we become youth-led as an organization? There's so much potential, so much capacity, and so much power. I will look forward to our conversation, your questions, your advice. Thank you so much for listening to me today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. So for young people, they want to learn. She wants to learn. Take it back. How do we become youth-led? That's something to note down. And hopefully when you interface, those questions will come up and ideas also. Please, let's appreciate her one more time. Let's not forget that the aim is to reach 200 million girls in the next 5 years. That's huge, sir. But I'm sure it's doable. Impossible is nothing. All right, so looking at it, looking at some of the statements of the strategy from this time around, let's look at it from the perspective of the regions. And we'll call on the Executive Director, Plan International for West and Central Africa, Mr. Rotimi Josiah. Thank you very much. Please appreciate him.
Thank you so much.
You've got 5 minutes, sir.
Thank you. It's really great to be here with you all. And welcome to all our colleagues and friends, partners, young people across the world. I'm delighted to be here to join the celebration of our new global strategy. I need to say that if there's any place we can meaningfully celebrate our global strategy and share our global strategy, this is the place. We are sharing and celebrating our new global strategy from this continent and from Nigeria. Stephen mentioned the crisis across the world and humanitarian needs growing across the world. And when you look at this region is where we are really experiencing crisis. Hunger crisis, we are seeing that everywhere, including in Nigeria. Displacement across the region, we are seeing that. When you look at the 10 countries where you have the highest rates of child early and forced marriage and FGM, you have 7 of them here in West and Central Africa. So celebrating our strategy here is so meaningful for all of us, and I'm truly happy to join this conversation today. 2 or 3 weeks ago, we all met in Freetown together with Charles and all the country directors and regional leadership team members to really ask ourselves, how could we work together to contribute to make this happen? The global strategy, as explained by Gunvor and Stephen, is a global platform to really guide the work we are doing across the world, especially in our region here. So when we met, what I will share with you is what we agreed together. I will start sharing and we will continue in the conversation. We believe the 3 pillars of our updated global strategy are at the heart of what we should be investing in here. The first one, we need to increase our impact. We really want to do more than what we are currently doing across the region. When we move from 100 million to 200 million, this region and Nigeria should play a critical role. We want to deliberately invest in strengthening our legitimacy. That's why, again, I'm happy to be here in Nigeria with the local board here. And we want as well, even in countries where we don't have local board, to promote what we will be calling national advisory board and youth panels across the region. And we will also be investing in promoting what we are calling sponsorship and programs, alumni networks, as tools to continue to ensure that we are grounded in local realities. We will continue to invest in youth-led programming and influencing. But beyond that, beyond co-creating everything we do with young people, we also want young people to sit around the table within the organization where decisions are made. So we need to make sure that we have you all, and we will need to learn. Gunvor said that now we will need to learn from you all. We want to make sure that we continue to deepen our work and understanding of focusing on girls' rights. And we will continue to do that in investing in learn. And when we are talking about learn, we want to amplify our work in gender transformative education. We will do more of that because you know the attack to education in this region, we need to do more of that. We want to invest more in supporting skills and opportunities for young people. So it will be good to discuss how we can be more effective in that area. We want to do more in investing in young people leadership. That's what we discuss as well. What we also want to do is to work with you all to reflect on how we can attract more quality funding to amplify our work. So we have a lot to do, and I believe in our conversation I will be saying more about some of the commitment at the regional level. We will also be counting on you all to set up a regional youth panel so that we all can really drive the implementation of this strategy together. Thank you so much. I know we will have time later on to discuss and to share more about the commitment. We are all committed to do even more to be effective and to support the implementation of this global strategy. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. And yes, sir, you're correct. There will be time for that. We're also going to have the fire chat conversation, which will give us ample time to share a bit more of the perspective there. Please, let's appreciate him one more time. And let's take it from the Nigerian perspective. This time we're calling on the country director of Plan International, Mr. Chas. Mr. Chas, you will give us the Nigerian perspective.
Thank you very much, Kimberly. At this point, my thought is to share how we intend to connect with the global strategy. So one of the things we want to do is what is already happening here, which is the conversation and the consultation in terms of which direction we should go. Remember that we are already running, and we want to run in the right direction, because we all know that you can work very hard, you could be fully committed and be pushing and running, but only doing that in the wrong direction. And no matter how much you work and how far you travel, As long as you're facing the wrong direction, you will never arrive at your destination. For us in Nigeria, first, we're really privileged and grateful to the global organization and to the global leadership team to agree to launch this strategy out from Nigeria and having an opportunity. We all know that a global strategy of this nature will typically be launched at a global level with really big, highly placed people in some fancy building somewhere across the global West. But Plan International is making a difference. It's walking its talk by saying we want to be locally led but globally connected. And that is why the leadership thought it wise that this strategy should be launched from a country office. And we feel really privileged and grateful that Nigeria was picked to host the launch of this strategy. What that means is the strategy will be grounded in living realities of people who are going through pain and sufferings. And we have a lot of them in Nigeria. A few years ago, we were declared as the country with the highest number of poor people in the world. What a trophy to hold. What a trophy to behold. And side by side that trophy we've been given, we've been told, and evidence is there, that Nigeria has one of the most vibrant, largest population of young people, side by side. So we take sides. So for us in Nigeria, we're taking sides. We're taking sides with young people. We're not neutral in this struggle. We're taking sides with young girls. And so whatever it is we do in Nigeria going forward, we will have young people significantly influence, engage, and be part of our strategy going forward. This is a commitment that I'm making on behalf of the organization here in Nigeria. And just before we end the conversation today, I will be giving some more specific announcements of how this will happen. And when I do that, I encourage you to hold me to account. Because a public presentation of this nature is actually a great risk. When an organization puts itself out in public like this, it comes with great risk. It's really a statement of accountability. Because then what we do is that we've made ourselves vulnerable to you. And we've made ourselves accountable to you. So we've gathered you all here, and there are people listening from all over the world. What it means is Plan International is saying this is who we are, this is what we're going to do for the next 5 years. Hold us to account. If you see us doing anything else, please accompany us and call us out. But where you see us moving in the right direction, which you think is the right place, join us. It's an accountability. It's a public show. It's a public display of our ambition and the conviction we hold in terms of what we believe and we think is right for young girls, and the conviction of how that change should happen. So for us in Nigeria, we want to listen as well to this conversation. We want to hear the questions. We want to hear the reflections. And on the basis of that, we will chart a path for us in Nigeria for this same strategy for the next 5 years. And we're counting on all of you to accompany us on this journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Charles, for that. You know, when he said they will share some more specific commitments and hold him accountable, hold Plan International accountable, I thought that was huge. Politicians would never say that. So I believe those words. Please, let's appreciate him one more time. And for those who are wondering how to listen in French and Portuguese, please, you have it on your table. Just search the frequency 1, 2, or 3. English is 1, French is 2, and then Portuguese is 3. And then we have the sign language interpreter up already. So please, let's ensure that we use all of this. Let's welcome Dr. Nana Chidima Emmanuel, Board Chair Plan International Nigeria, to also share with us the perspective from the Nigerian board perspective, that is. Please appreciate her.
Good morning, everyone. I am very honored and privileged, really, to be part of this awesome launch, timely launch. And I'm most excited that Nigeria, it's the place that has been chosen and we have the support of the global CEO and the global chair to ensure that we are supporting equality and the rights of girls and young people. I'd like to thank once again, I've thanked and appreciated our gratitude on behalf of the board to all the team members of Plan International and Plan Nigeria for driving this process. But I want to say that girls and young people have the right and responsibility to hold state actors, to hold other power holders, corporations, NGOs, everyone accountable to deliver what they promise to deliver. And on behalf of the board of Nigeria, Plan Nigeria, we are committed to driving the implementation of the Nigerian strategy. We are also committed to prioritizing mobilization of social capitals from all board members to ensure that issues of girls and young people take the mainstream of public discourse and play key decision making. Young people are able to participate, engage, and play key decision making in affairs that concern them. That we're able to use the lens of the young girl, of the young people, to decide and to implement these strategies. We are also committed to strengthen our commitment to gender equality, especially girls and young women. I am grateful that we are part of this great feat, and I know that Charles is not a politician, and the team are not politicians, and I can assure you that as a board we will hold ourselves accountable to ensure that we will fulfill the promise and the support we have made. Thank you very much. It's a learning platform. It's always exciting to have young people, to hear from them, to see their perspective, and to drive the process through their own lens. We drive our processes through our own lens, but it's better for us to sit back, take the back seat, and listen and understand and direct and correct and support, and at least meet each other at some point. So I'm glad we're having this today here, and I'm glad we are all part of it. On behalf of the board, once again, I say thank you, and we're going to have a wonderful deliberation for the rest of the week and the days. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nana Chidi Emmanuel. Appreciate you, ma'am. Please, let's appreciate them one more time. A lot has been said already. All right, so we're expecting the Honorable Minister of Women Affairs, Dame Pauline Talion, but she's kind of still on her way. There's no traffic today, but I'm sure she's stuck in traffic. She'll be here soon. But we'll go on a walking tea break. With the 10 minutes, I'm going to walk-in tea break, and when we return, hopefully she'll be here. If she's not, we'll get into the fire chat conversation proper. All right? We're going to stick to the clock. So 10 minutes, and we're back.
ina tsoron zama a nan da ko ina saboda kar abin da ya faru ya sake faruwa duk da ina ji kar abu sai ne ma wurin ɓoye.
Ina da sakamako masu kyau a makaranta, ina da kawaye waɗanda muna hulɗa tare da su kamar nan tashi hankali ya shigo.
An tafi da babana a lokacin gudu hijira har yau ban haɗu da shi ba. Mama na ta yi aure ta bar mu, ni ne ina fama da yara ɗin. Shekaru na 14 kawai, ni kuma ban da ake yi, ni kuma ni ina ciyar da yaran.
Muna tafiya. Ba ci ba sha ga ni ga ciki ga yaro na dawo washe gari rai yayi hali a gurin ɗana.
Da kyar mun samu na gudu daga hannunsu saboda yara na mai yanzu ciyar da su ma a koyala don ban san mai ina zan samu ciyar da su ba saboda ina so.
Hello. Okay, quick update. Tea break isn't ready. 5 more minutes. So it means we're going to have a break of 15 minutes. Once it's ready, I'll announce. Please, let's just go through the Plan International, the impact we've made, and once it's ready, I'll let the house know. Thank you very much.
Muna bin wata ba abin tarewa, alaki ne muna kwana, alaki ne na dafa abinci, gashi na muna kwana kai taburma.
Na kan ɗauki tofi takarduna in karanta don kada in manta da abun da aka koya mun a baya. ba zan iya zuwa makaranta ba kuma don wahalan biyan kuɗin makaranta abincin da za mu ci ma da wahala muke samunta.
Mun samu ci abinci uku a sati ma wannan ma mun samu abinci kenan. Ga yara na ba makaranta, kayan sawa babu ba mai taimako. In kamar rashin lafiya ya kama su yanzu ba asibiti. In mun je janar ba karami kuɗi mu ne kashewa ba ruwa sha, ba sabulu ko na wanka, ba toilet.
Ina wanka waje, ina fisara waje ba bayan gida, ba abinci a wurinmu. Sai in je in yi sangwara ma in ji sa.
Ina zuwa gonakin mutane daga 6 na safe sai na yamma, 500 kacal wanda nake samu a yamma. To a da kenan. Na hada 'yan plan suka koya min sana'a na nika. Na ji daɗin ɗin kuma ina samun 5-10 ina rufa mana asiri da ni da 'yata.
Da plan sun same mu sun karfafa mu sun koya mana aikin hannu. Yanzu na iya dinkin ina dan samun kuɗi na duk da ba zaman lafiya. Kuma yanzu ina kula da yara na da Lily Plan International.
Mutane plan sun bani kuɗi na sa abinci da shi. Sun kara sani a cikin runjin markaɗe. Ina nika ina samun kuɗi a ciki.
La International sun same ni bege na ya cika da cewa zan koma makarantar ci gaba da karatu don in zo zama wani abu a nan gaba.
Har yanzu idan na ji kara ina zuwa ɓoyewa, ba na jin kasawa kamar na da. Da baba na ya rasu yana shekara 3, da boko haram za su dauke ni na shekara 15. Ina da yaro ɗaya da ciki wata 2 kamun sun dauke ni.
Ban iya ci gaba da makaranta ba don tashin hankali kuma ana tafiya da 'yan mata a makaranta. Mutane suna can mu na yi aure ni kuma na ki yin aure don na ci gaba da yin makaranta.
Faɗa nan ya canja min rayuwana, na ki faɗan ya canja min rayuwana. Ina so in yi wani abu a kai.
Na bar mai gidana ba zan iya rayuwa da shi ba. Na dagun iyayena rigima nan ta zo ta taso.
Ina tsoron zama a nan da ko ina saboda karabun da ya faru ya sake faruwa. Duk ɗan da ina ji karabun sai ne maurin ɓoye.
Ina da sakamako masu kyau a makaranta, ina da kawaye waɗanda muna hulɗa tare da su kamar nan tashi hankali ya shigo.
An tafi da babana a lokacin gudu hijira har yau ban haɗu da shi ba. Mama na ta yi aure ta bar mu, ni ne ina kama da yara ɗin. Shekaru na 14 kawai, ni kuma ban da aiki yi, ni kuma ni ina ciyar da yara da 7.
Amin auren dole ina shekara 15 saboda wahalar rayuwa. Baban 'yata ya guje mu daga ni har 'yata zan shekara 2 yanzu. Ko sisi bai taɓa ba mu ba.
San shekara 1 boko haram sun ci zalina, ba abinci ba wanka, ga yaro ɗaya da ciki wata 2.
Na yi zato cewa makarantar nan shi zai cire mu daga cikin wannan wahalan da muke ciki, amma a dare ɗaya komai ya canja. Na rasa babana, na rasa mama na kuma har da kawuna da kanina a tashi hankalin da aka shiga.
Muka shiga cikin Kamaru da kafa kwana 3 muna tafiya, ba ci ba sha, ga ni ga ciki ga yaro. Na dawo washe gari rai yayi hali a gurin ɗana.
Da kyar mun samu na gudu daga hannunsu saboda yara na mai yanzu ciyar da su ma a koyala, don ban san mai na zan samu ciyar da su ba saboda ina so.
A yanzu muna bin wata ba abin tarewa, a ɗaki ne muna kwana, a ɗaki ne ina dafa abinci, gashi na muna kwana a kai tabarma.
Nakan ɗauki tofi takarduna in karanta don kada in manta da abun da aka koya mun a baya. ba zan iya zuwa makaranta ba kuma don wahalan biyan kuɗin makaranta abincin da za mu ci ma da wahala muke samunta.
Mun samu ci abinci uku a sati ma wannan ma mun samu abinci kenan. Ga yara na ba makaranta, kayan sawa babu ba mai taimako. In kamar rashin lafiya kama su yanzu ba asibiti. In mun je janar ba karamin kuɗi mu ne kashewa ba ruwa sha, ba sabulu ko na wanka, ba toilet.
Ina wanka waje, ina fisara waje ba bayan gida, ba abinci a wurin mu. Sai in je in yi sangwara ma in ji sa.
Ina zuwa gonakin mutane daga 6 na safe sai na yamma 500 kacal abinda nake samu a yini. To a da kenan. Na da 'yan plan suka koya min sana'a na nika. Na ji daɗin ɗin kuma ina samun 5-10 ina rufa mana asiri da ni da 'yata.
Da plan sun same mu sun karfafa mu sun koya mana aikin hannu. Yanzu na iya dinkin ina dan samun kuɗi na duk da ba zaman lafiya. Kuma yanzu ina kula da yara na dalili Plan International.
In plan sun bani kuɗi na sa abinci da shi. Sun kara sani a cikin injin markaɗe. Ina nika ina samun kuɗi a ciki.
Plan International sun same ni bege na ya cika da cewa zan koma makarantar ci gaba da karatu don in zo zama wani abu a nan gaba.
Har yanzu idan na ji kara ina zuwa ɓoyewa ba na jin kasawa kamar na da. Da babana ya rasu yana shekara 3 da boko haram za su dauke ina shekara 15 ina da yaro daya da ciki wata 2 kamun sun dauke ni.
Ban iya ci gaba da makaranta ba don tashi hankali kuma ana tafiya da 'yan mata a makaranta mutane suna can mu na yi aure ni kuma na ki yin aure don na ci gaba da yin makaranta.
Faɗan nan ya canja mu rayuwana na ki faɗan ya canja mu rayuwana ina so in yi wani abu a kai.
Na bar mai gidana ba zan iya rayuwa da shi ba. Na dawo gun iyayena rigima nan ta zo ta taso.
Ina tsoro zama a nan da ko ina saboda karabun da ya faru ya sake faruwa duk ɗan da ina ji kara abubuwan sai ne maurin ɓoye.
Ina da sakamako masu kyau a makaranta ina da kawaye waɗanda muna hulɗa tare da su kame nan tashi hankali ya shigo.
An tafi da babana a lokacin gudu hijira har yau ban haɗu da shi ba. Mama na ta aure ta bar mu ni ne ina fama da yara ɗin. Shekaru na 14 kawai ni kuma ban da aiki yi ni kuma ni ina ciyar da yara da 7.
Amin auren dole ina shekara 15 saboda wahalan rayuwa. Baban 'yata ya guje mu daga ni har 'yata kusan shekara 2 yanzu. Ko sisi bai taɓa ba mu ba.
San shekara 1 boko haram sun ci zalina ba abinci ba wanka ga yaro ɗaya da ciki wata 2.
Na yi zato cewa makarantar nan shi zai cire mu daga cikin wannan wahalan da muke ciki amma a dare ɗaya komai ya canja. Na rasa babana na rasa mama na kuma har da kawuna da kanina a tashi hankalin da aka shiga.
Muka shiga cikin Kamaru da kafa kwana 3 muna tafiya ba ci ba sha ga ni ga ciki ga yaro. Na dawo washe gari rai ya yi hali a gurin ɗana.
Da kyar mun samu na gudu daga hannunsu saboda yara na mai yanzu ciyar da su ma a koyala don ban san mai na zan samu ciyar da su ba saboda ina tsoro.
A yanzu muna bin wata ba abin tarewa a ɗaki ne muna kwana a ɗaki ne na dafa abinci gashi na muna kwana a kai tabarma.
Na kan ɗauki tofi takarduna in karanta don kada in manta da abun da aka koya mun a baya. ba zan iya zuwa makaranta ba kuma don wahalan biyan kuɗin makaranta abincin da za mu ci ma da wahala muke samunta.
Mun samu ci abinci uku a sati ma wannan ma mun samu abinci kenan. Ga yara na ba makaranta, kayan sawa babu ba mai taimako. In kamar rashin lafiya kama su yanzu ba asibiti. In mun je janar ba karamin kuɗi mun ne kashewa ba ruwa sha, ba sabulu ko na wanka, ba toilet.
Ina wanka waje, ina fisara waje ba bayan gida, ba abinci a wurin mu. Sai in je in yi sangwara ma in ji sa.
Ina zuwa gonakin mutane daga 6 na safe sai na yamma 500 kacal wanda nake samu a yini. To a da kenan na haɗa 'yan plan suka koya min sana'a na nika. Na ji daɗin ɗin kuma ina samun 5-10 ina rufa mana asiri da ni da 'yata.
Da plan sun same mu sun karfafa mu sun koya mana aikin hannu. Yanzu na iya dinkin, ina dan samun kuɗi na duk da ba zaman lafiya. Kuma yanzu ina kula da yara na da Lily Plan International.
Mutane plan sun bani kuɗi na sa abinci da shi. Sun kara sani a cikin injin markaɗe. Ina nika ina samun kuɗi a ciki.
Plan International sun same ni bege na ya cika da cewa zan koma makarantar ci gaba da karatu don in zo zama wani abu a nan gaba.
Har yanzu idan na ji kara ina zuwa ɓoyewa, ba na jin kasawa kamar na da. Da baba na ya rasu yana shekara 3, da boko haram zai su dauki ina shekara 15. Ina da yaro ɗaya da ciki wata 2 kamun sun dauke ni.
Ban iya ci gaba da makaranta ba don tashi hankali kuma ana tafiya da 'yan mata a makaranta. Mutane suna can mu na yi aure ni kuma na yin aure don na ci gaba da yin makaranta.
Faɗan nan ya canja mu rayuwana, na ki faɗan ya canja mu rayuwana. Ina so in yi wani abu a kai.
Na bar mai gidana ba zan iya rayuwa da shi ba. Na dawo gun iyayena rigima nan ta zo ta taso.
Ina tsoron zama a nan da ko ina saboda karabun da ya faru ya sake faruwa. Duk ɗan da ina ji kara abu sai ne wurin ɓoye.
Ina da sakamako masu kyau a makaranta, ina da kawaye waɗanda muna hulɗa tare da su kamar nan tashi hankali ya shigo.
An tafi da babana a lokacin gudu hijira har yau ban haɗu da shi ba. Mama na ta yi aure ta bar mu, ni ne ina fama da yara ɗin. Shekaru na 14 kawai, ni kuma ban da ake yi, ni kuma ni ina ciyar da yara da 7.
Amin auren dole ina shekara 15 saboda wahalar rayuwa. Baban 'yata ya guje mu daga ni har 'yata kusan shekara 2 yanzu. Ko sisi bai taɓa ba mu ba.
Tun shekara 1 boko haram sun ci zalina, ba abinci ba wanka, ga yaro ɗaya da ciki wata 2.
Na yi zato cewa makarantar nan shi zai cire mu daga cikin wannan wahalan da muke ciki, amma a daidai ɗaya komai ya canja. Na rasa babana, na rasa mamana kuma har da kawuna da kanina a tashi hankalin da aka shiga.
Muka shiga cikin Kamaru da kafa kwana 3 muna tafiya, ba ci ba sha, ga ni ga ciki ga yaro. Na dawo washe gari rai ya yi hali a gurin ɗana.
Da kyar mun samu na gudu daga hannunsu saboda yara na mai yanzu ciyar da su ma a koyala, don ban san mai na zan samu ciyar da su ba saboda ina so.
A yanzu muna bin wata ba abin tarewa, a ɗaki ne muna kwana, a ɗaki ne na dafa abinci, gashi na muna kwana a kai tabarma.
Nakan ɗauki tofi takarduna in karanta don kada in manta da abun da aka koya mun a baya. ba zan iya zuwa makaranta ba kuma don wahalan biyan kuɗin makaranta abincin da za mu ci ma da wahala muke samunta.
Mun za mu ci abinci uku a sati ma wannan ma mun samu abinci kenan. Ga yara na ba makaranta, kayan sawa babu ba mai taimako. In kamar rashin lafiya kama su yanzu ba asibiti. In mun je janar ba karami kuɗi mu ne kashewa ba ruwa sha, ba sabulu ko na wanka, ba toilet.
Ina wanka waje, ina fisara waje ba bayan gida, ba abinci a wurin mu. Sai in je in yi sangwara ma in ji sa.
Ina zuwa gonakin mutane daga 6 na safe sai na yamma, 500 kacal wanda nake samu a yau. To a da kenan. Na hada 'yan plan suka koya min sana'a na nika. Na ji daɗin ɗin kuma ina samun 5-10 ina rufa mana asiri da ni da 'yata.
Da plan sun same mu sun karfafa mu sun koya mana aikin hannu. Yanzu na iya dinkin, ina dan samun kuɗi na duk da ba zaman lafiya. Kuma yanzu ina kula da yara na dalili Plan International.
Mutane plan sun bani kuɗi na sa abinci da shi. Sun kara sani a cikin injin markaɗe. Ina nika ina samun kuɗi a ciki.
Plan International sun same ni bege na ya cika da cewa zan koma makarantar ci gaba da karatu don in zo zama wani abu a nan gaba.
Har yanzu idan na ji kara ina zuwa ɓoyewa, ba na jin kasawa kamar na da.
Decisions that are made in government affect our lives down the line. The girl, the child, the man, the woman, every decision that is made, laws that are passed. So it's important as a celebrity for me to take a stand. Now, you can't get everyone to do the same thing for you because people are passionate about some things more than you. Some people don't even care that maybe to look good, they'll say, okay, let me do something for society. But if you're not passionate, you can't get certain celebrities to do stuff for you. They have to believe in the process and in the project that they're talking about, else they won't be able to talk about it. So each individual in this place, if we decidedly and make sure that we are, how do I say, spreading our values to the people in our neighborhood, collectively, I know and I believe that it will become a strong force. For Plan International, you're already onto a good thing. You need to do more, and you have to have people who will help you do more, to commit resources, time, and energy.
In terms of percentage, of children getting married, the percentage is getting down, but the number of girls are increasing. Why? Because we have an increasing population. So it's because of the population momentum that the absolute number of girls getting married, they are increasing. But in terms of percentage, it's getting down little by little. I want to say that the issue of child marriage, it's not right. It's out on the border for ECOWAS, because the highest level of authority we have are the heads of state, and they have indicated they want to address the issue of child marriage. I mean, that is the highest pronouncement you can have. If the heads of state says they want to address the issue, then there's already a political will. And when there's a political will, a lot can be done. With that, then we can go ahead with our sensitization, advocacy, campaign, and intervention even at the grassroots level. So all this, we want to do more. We have done little, but we believe that in the next few months, in the next few years, our engagement on the issue of child marriage will be much more in-depth, and it will be much more effective.
So the goal is 100 million girls. I know 100 million might sound like a lot, but if you're looking at the number of girls we have around the world, adolescent girls, you will know that, okay, well, 100 million is a very fantastic place to start from. Early marriage, particularly in the northern part of the country. Why are we still grappling with this? There's been intense campaign for years now about ending child marriage, but it's still a very big deal for us. The girl child is actually an absent human being in most contexts in her family. She is to be thoughtful. The second issue is also that her own mother, who should actually be her support system, does not possess what she needs, both economically and social thinking and so on, to really provide her with that support wall. Then the society again coming back. So long story short, as they would say, it took us about 10 years in Rapa to take a decision and to face the challenges. So we drew up a theory of change that put the girl at the center, with the three major assumptions: that one, she has access to education; that two, her family provides her that support system that keeps her aspiring to achieve; and thirdly, that within the space there are legislations, there are mechanisms and support systems that will support her should she find a derailment in the process of achieving herself.
There are situations where it is the girl child that wants to get married. She's the one who is fighting for it, and not anyone pointing or putting her pressure, maybe because of the environment where she has been brought up or she has grown. She's fighting for it. Is there a direction of discussion also tilted towards the girl child so that she considers child marriage as an issue?
The basic theory of change that Rapa has is the girl is at the center. Whatever you do, we need to make the girl a positive deviant. What do we mean by that? We need to have the girl in herself demand for this thing. Whatever it is external to her. As such, in Rapa, our first aim is to work with organizations that will help us build the self-worth of young girls to first of all believe in themselves. We are working with platforms of men where fathers, have their day. In the north, it is called Majalisa. In other places, there are age groups of men and, household heads.
Hello.
We're working with them again to show them the efficacy.
Hello, everyone. Just to announce that tea break is finally here by the poolside. So we just go out from here because they're running an interview there, and just go to the poolside. It's going to be a walking tea break, so either you eat there or you just come back here so that we'll walk with time. 10 minutes, please.
litigation. One of our major callings is legal aid support to women
Please.
and girls.
Let's all
So
just go now.
while we are engaging with the institutions of religion, with the institutions of the judiciary, with the institution of law enforcement, police, and so on, educating them, engaging them to even know the law. So we are working at popularizing laws. We are working also at strategic litigation. What this means is putting the law to the test. Once you get it, you achieve three things. It brings about knowledge of its existence. It supports uptake of the law by lawyers. And then it helps judges to have precedents that they can rely on, especially where you have concurrence of jurisdiction of the law courts that are dealing with the certain legislation you are dealing with. The last thing, again, is to educate women themselves, which we are doing. And I think from 2016 to date, we have been working with other institutions that are working directly with girls under the DFID project to educate girls on the availability of legislations that they can, ask somebody to help them.
Your focus is education. Brilliant. It's important. I mean, if you're looking at the goal, is to have girls to learn also. You learn, you empower them. They can have a say, they can have a voice, and hopefully take the message. Now, how are you working with the Hub to ensure that these messages are taking out?
At the start of this school year, we had the first register. We always had the Government Girls Secondary School Dutse. That's actually where I primarily engage. But the American International School actually officially launched Girl Lead Hub as the first club this school year. And on October 11th, what the girls are planning to do is a conversation around the state of the girl. And already what they've told me is, Auntie Bella, the people we want on this panel are girls, right? So they don't want the usual, bring a whole bunch of, women professionals who will come and tell girls what their challenges are, right? So already we've recognized that we're going to have on the panel, girls who will be able to talk about the issues because they're the ones who are experiencing these issues. So one of the things that the club is going to do is on these strategic thematic days across the year, they're the ones driving these conversations, and they're the ones who are going to be writing stories about challenges that are affecting girls, and they're the ones who are going to be pushing this campaign forward. I'm there to provide guidance, to provide support, but just already by recognizing the fact that they need to be the voice for their generation is one of the things for me is an incredible success, because we can't be the ones continuously speaking up for them, right? So especially for the girls who are in a privileged position, it's their responsibility to make sure that they're also taking this message, forward.
For me, a lot of people ask me to form my own NGO, and I'm like, no, there's so many people out there doing so many great stuff that I could support. So I lend my support, my image, who I am, to a lot of causes. Decisions that are made in government affect our lives down the line. The girl, the child, the man, the woman, every decision that is made, laws that are passed. So it's important as a celebrity for me to take a stand. Now, you can't get everyone to do the same thing for you, because people are passionate about some things more than you. Some people don't even care. That maybe to look good, they'll say, okay, let me do something for society. But if you're not passionate, you can't get certain celebrities to do stuff for you. They have to believe in the process and in the project that they're talking about, else they won't be able to talk about it.
How can celebrities continue to support? And I was thinking, even though you are lending because you're looking for money, you have a following, can you go a little deeper to know actually what happens to the girls just by talking to them?
Oh yes, absolutely. I believe so. It's very important not just to talk about it, but when you engage with the girls and the people in these situations that you're advocating for, you get a first-hand knowledge of what they're going through. And I do that, and I'm sure a lot of other people do that, because if not, you'll just be at the surface. You'll just be scratching the surface, and you'll not be knowledgeable enough about the stuff that you're advocating for. Celebrities don't live in the sky. They interact with people, they interact with young girls, boys, children, and it's very important for them to lend their voice, because people look up to them, people listen to them. And if Kate is talking about something, yeah, that's true, I remember, lately, for the past 1 week, Al Jazeera has been putting up my video. I ran for office in 2014, and lately they've just been repeating it. And like people are like, "Oh, Kate, you went through this. Wow, I want to know more about it. I'm inspired." That's a way you've put yourself out there in that space. So they're going to come to you and like, "How did you do it? Is it possible?" That has already given them inspiration to want to aspire.
Let's look at what ECOWAS is doing in that regard, in the area of early marriage. Specifically, let's start from there.
I want to say that the issue of child marriage, it's not right. It's not on the border for ECOWAS, because the highest level of authority we have are the heads of state, and they have indicated they want to address the issue of child marriage. I mean, that is the highest pronouncement we can have. If the heads of state says they want to address the issue, then there is already a political will. And when there is a political will, a lot can be done. With that, then we can go ahead with our sensitization, advocacy, campaign, and intervention even at the grassroots level. So all this, we want to do more. We have done little, but we believe that in the next few months, in the next few years, our engagement on the issue of child marriage will be much more in-depth, and it will be much more effective.
I know it was controversial sometime in Nigeria when we're thinking of amending our constitution. There was a section of the constitution that says when, not verbatim here, once a girl gets married, doesn't matter what age, she's officially recognized as an adult. So you get married at 12, voila. You can make decisions. You can't vote, you can't get your driver's license, but you're recognized as an adult all the same. And it was really controversial. And people like expunged that part of the constitution. Currently it's still there. We've danced around it, but it's still there. So it means that we don't have very strict laws penalizing these things.
We need tighter law. I couldn't agree more. I think there are a lot of laws in Nigeria, even outside of this, that need to be revisited. We're in 2018, and we have a lot of laws that were designed for the 60s or the 80s. So absolutely, we need tighter laws. But even for the laws that we have, we need to enforce. We've talked about the Child's Right Act, for instance, and we know that it's not even all the states in Nigeria, for instance, that have domesticated that. So we can't say that we don't have that law. We do. But what are we doing with the laws that we currently have? I think that a lot of work needs to go into educating or providing information around these issues in the first place. And not just for adults, but for girls. I think we really need to have a better in-depth understanding of what these issues are. With the numbers, with information around, how many people that it has affected. Because we can't be proactive in trying to, change norms that exist without providing information that kind of back, or justify the reasons why these things need to happen.
We are all, as we are gathered here, we are very passionate people. We are very concerned about our society, and project the cause of girls and young women. What do you think agencies like ours will actually do to become a major leader in this global girls' rights?
A multi-pronged approach to engaging on these issues. For instance, how can we leverage the structure that already exists within the school system to make sure that we're getting into the heads of the girls in these schools the kind of norms that we want them to imbibe, right? So what is this new knowledge that we want to share? And can we start to use existing school structures? We have clubs. At least there is one single club in a school. What are they doing in those clubs? And they meet every week. They meet at least 30 minutes in a week. What kinds of conversations are they having there, right? And sometimes you have organizations that come to these schools to engage with these people. Can we have a situation where there's a manual, right? So what is it that we want these girls to learn in year one? Can we have like a manual of engagement so that in their clubs they have a kind of conversation? They have like conversation topics they're engaging on. So it's not enough to say we want to build their knowledge, we want them to learn, But the question is, even for me who work with civil society groups, I often find that the question is how? How do you go about doing this? People want to do so much. They're passionate. They want to do this thing. But they need, what are the tools for achieving these things? So my recommendation will be let's think about a strategy and a timeline as well. So what are specific things we want to accomplish, and how do we want to specifically target helpers, support systems? Celebrities are great, right? But how can we build new champions, and even within the girl community, who will be the ones to go and be the voice for their generation? Because quite frankly, it's their issues, and they understand these issues a lot better than we do. So how can we empower them?
What are the values of each and every one sitting here? Each one teach one, each one reach one. If we have values that we hold highly individually, we can make it a collective value that everyone buys into. So each individual in this place, if we decidedly and make sure that we are, spreading our values to the people in our neighborhood, collectively, I know and I believe that it will become a strong force. For Plan International, you're already onto a good thing. You need to do more, and you have to have people who will help you do more, to commit resources, time, and energy.
It's basically, from what I've gathered here, education, absolutely important. But in a country, I'm going to cite an example with Nigeria, where we have millions of out-of-school children, girls also. You start to paint a clear picture of the amount of work and hurdles that we need to scale to get girls and young children educated, not just in Nigeria, but in the West African region and on the continent also, and across the world. Absolutely, a lot of work and investment. We need to put our money where our mouth is: government, ECOWAS, celebrities, and other stakeholders, to ensure that more children and girls are educated.
Babana ya rasu yana shekara 3. Da Boko Haram su dauke ni na shekara 15. Ina da yaro daya da ciki wata 2 kamun sun dauke ni.
Ban iya ci gaba da makaranta ba don tashi hankali, kuma ana tafiya da 'yan mata a makaranta. Mutane suna ce mu na yi aure, ni kuma na ki yin aure don na ci gaba da makaranta.
Faɗan nan ya canja mu rayuwana, na ki faɗan ya canja mu rayuwana. Ina so in yi wani abu a kai.
Na bar mai gidana, ba zan iya rayuwa da shi ba. Na dawo gun iyayena, rigima nan ta zo ta taso.
Ina tsoron zama a nan da ko ina, saboda karabun da ya faru ya sake faruwa. Duk da ina ji karabu sai ne maurin ɓoye.
Ina da sakamako masu kyau a makaranta, ina da kawaye waɗanda muna hulɗa tare da su, kamar nan tashi hankali ya shigo.
An tafi da babana a lokacin gudu hijira, har yau ban haɗu da shi ba. Mama na ta yi aure ta bar mu, ni ne ina fama da yara ɗin. Shekaru na 14 kawai, ni kuma ban da aiki yi, ni kuma ni ina ciyar da yara da 7.
Amin auren dole ina shekara 15 saboda wahalar rayuwa. Baban yata ya guje mu daga ni har yata, kusan shekara 2 yanzu. Ko sisi bai taɓa ba mu ba.
San shekara 1 Boko Haram sun ci zalina, ba abinci ba wanka, ga yaro ɗaya da ciki wata 2.
Na yi zato cewa makarantar nan shi zai cire mu daga cikin wannan wahalar da muke ciki, amma a daidai ɗaya komai ya canja. Na rasa babana, na rasa mamana, kuma har da kawuna da kanina a tashi hankalin da aka shiga.
Muka shiga cikin Kamaru da kafa kwana 3 muna tafiya, ba ci ba sha, ga ni ga ciki ga yaro. Na dawo washe gari, rai yayi hali a gurin ɗana.
Da kyar mun samu na gudu daga hannunsu, saboda yara na mai yanzu ciyar da su ma a kohala, don ban san mai na zan samu ciyar da su ba, saboda ina so.
A yanzu muna bin wata ba abin tarewa, a ɗaki ne muna kwana, a ɗaki ne na dafa abinci, gashi na muna kwana a kai tabarma.
Na kan ɗauki tofi takarduna in karanta don kada in manta da abun da aka koya mun a baya. Ba zan iya zuwa makaranta ba, kuma don wahalan biyan kuɗin makaranta, abincin da za mu ci ma da wahala muke samunta.
Mun za mu ci abinci 3 a sati ma, wannan ma mun samu abinci kenan. Ga yara na ba makaranta, kayan sawa babu, ba mai taimako. In kamar rashin lafiya kama su yanzu ba asibiti. In mun je janar ba karami kuɗi mun ya kashewa ba, ba ruwa sha, ba sabulu ko na wanka, ba toilet.
Ina wanka waje, ina fisar a waje, ba bayan gida, ba abinci a wurin mu. sai in je in yi sangwara ma in ji sa.
ina zuwa gonakin mutane daga 6 na safe sai na yamma 500 kacal abinda nake samu a yini. To a da kenan na da yan plan suka koya min sana'a na nika, na ji daɗin ɗin kuma ina samun 5-10 ina rufa mana asiri da ni da yata.
Da plan sun same mu sun karfafa mu sun koya mana aikin hannu. Yanzu na iya dinkin ina dan samun kudi na duk da ba zaman lafiya. Kuma yanzu ina kula da yara na da Lily Plan International.
Mutane plan sun bani kuɗi na sa abinci da shi sun kara sani a cikin injin markaɗe ina nika ina samun kuɗi a ciki.
Plan International sun same ni bege na ya cika da cewa zan koma makarantar ci gaba da karatu don in zo zama wani abu a nan gaba.
Har yanzu idan na ji kara ina zuwa ɓoyewa ba na jin kasawa kamar na da.
Decisions that are made in government affect our lives down the line. The girl, the child, the man, the woman, every decision that is made, laws that are passed. So it's important as a celebrity for me to take a stand. Now, you can't get everyone to do the same thing for you because people are passionate about some things more than you. Some people don't even care that maybe to look good, they'll say, okay, let me do something for society. But if you're not passionate, you can't get certain celebrities to do stuff for you. They have to believe in the process and in the project that they're talking about, else they won't be able to talk about it. So each individual in this place, if we decidedly and make sure that we are, how do I say, spreading our values to the people in our neighborhood, collectively, I know and I believe that it will become a strong force. For Plan International, you're already onto a good thing. You need to do more, and you have to have people who will help you do more to commit resources, time, and energy.
In terms of percentage of children getting married, the percentage is getting down, but the number of girls are increasing. Why? Because we have an increasing population. So it's because of the population momentum that the absolute number of girls getting married, they are increasing. But in terms of percentage, it's getting down little by little. I want to say that the issue of child marriage, it's not right. It's not on the border for ECOWAS because the highest level of authority we have are the heads of state. And they have indicated they want to address the issue of child marriage. I mean, that is the highest pronouncement you can have. If the heads of state says they want to address the issue, then there is already a political will. And when there is a political will, a lot can be done. With that, then we can go ahead with our sensitization, advocacy, campaign, and intervention even at the grassroots level. So all this, we want to do more. We have done little, but we believe that in the next few months, in the next few years, our engagement on the issue of child marriage will be much more in-depth and it will be much more effective.
The goal is 100 million girls. I know 100 million might sound like a lot, But if you're looking at the number of girls we have around the world, adolescent girls, you will know that, okay, well, 100 million is a very fantastic place to start from. Early marriage, particularly in the northern part of the country. Why are we still grappling with this? There's been intense campaign for years now about ending child marriage, but it's still a very big deal for us.
The girl child is actually an absent human being in most contexts in her family. She is to be thought for. The second issue is also that her own mother, who should actually be her support system, does not possess what she needs, both economically and social thinking and so on, to really provide her with that support all. Then the society again coming back. So long story short, as they would say, it took us about 10 years in Rapa to take a decision and to face the challenges. So we drew up a theory of change that put the girl at the center with the three major assumptions: that one, she has access to education; that two, her family provides her that support system that keeps her aspiring to achieve; and thirdly, that within the space there are legislations, there are mechanisms and support systems that will support her should she find a derailment in the process of achieving herself.
There are situations where it is the girl child that wants to get married. She's the one who is fighting for it and not anyone pointing or putting her pressure, maybe because of the environment where she has been brought up or she has grown. She's fighting for it. Is there a direction of discussion also tilted towards the girl child so that she considers child marriage as an issue?
The basic theory of change that Rapa has is the girl is at the center. Whatever you do, we need to make the girl a positive deviant. What do we mean by that? We need to have the girl in herself demand for this thing. Whatever it is external to her. As such, in Rapa, our first aim is to work with organizations that will help us build the self-worth of young girls to first of all believe in themselves. We are working with platforms of men where fathers, have their day. In the north, it is called Majalisa. In other places, there are age groups of men and, household heads. We're working with them again to show them the efficacy of them being the support system for their girl children.
In my country, we have a lot of problems with the law. The law is there, it's written, and then we have the FSU, the police, but then when it happens, nobody wants to take action. So how have you dealt with these law enforcement officers to actually, or bodies, to actually help this culture?
We are looking at strategic litigation. One of our major callings is legal aid support to women and girls. So while we are engaging with the institutions of religion, with the institutions of the judiciary, with the institution of law enforcement, police, and so on, educating them, engaging them to even know the law. So we are working at popularizing laws. We are working also at strategic litigation. What this means is putting the law to the test. Once you get it, you achieve three things. It brings about knowledge of its existence. It supports uptake of the law by lawyers. And then it helps judges to have precedents that they can rely on, especially where you have concurrence of jurisdiction of the law courts that are dealing with the certain legislation you are dealing with. The last thing, again, is to educate women themselves, which we are doing. And I think from 2016 to date, we have been working with other institutions that are working directly with girls under the DFID project to educate girls on the availability of legislations that they can, ask somebody to help them.
Your focus is education. Brilliant. It's important. I mean, if you're looking at the goal, is to have girls to learn also. You learn, you empower them. They can have a say, they can have a voice, and hopefully take the message. Now, how are you working with the Hub to ensure that these messages are taking out?
At the start of this school year, we had the first register. We always had the Government Girls Secondary School Dutse. That's actually where I primarily engage. But the American International School actually officially launched Girl Lead Hub as the first club this school year. And on October 11th, what the girls are planning to do is a conversation around the state of the girl. And already what they've told me is, Auntie Bella, the people we want on this panel are girls, right? So they don't want the usual, bring a whole bunch of, women professionals who will come and tell girls what their challenges are, right? So already we've recognized that we're going to have on the panel, girls who will be able to talk about the issues because they're the ones who are experiencing these issues. So one of the things that the club is going to do is on these strategic thematic days across the year, they're the ones driving these conversations, and they're the ones who are going to be writing stories about challenges that are affecting girls, and they're the ones who are going to be pushing this campaign forward. I'm there to provide guidance, to provide support, but just already by recognizing the fact that they need to be the voice for their generation is one of the things for me is an incredible success, because we can't be the ones continuously speaking up for them, right? So especially for the girls who are in a privileged position, it's their responsibility to make sure that they're also taking this message, forward.
For me, a lot of people ask me to form my own NGO, and I'm like, no, there's so many people out there doing so many great stuff that I can support. So I lend my support, my image, who I am, to a lot of causes. Decisions that are made in government affect our lives down the line. The girl, the child, the man, the woman, every decision that is made, laws that are passed. So it's important as a celebrity for me to take a stand. Now, you can't get everyone to do the same thing for you, because people are passionate about some things more than you. Some people don't even care. That maybe to look good, they'll say, okay, let me do something for society. But if you're not passionate, you can't get certain celebrities to do stuff for you. They have to believe in the process and in the project that they're talking about, else they won't be able to talk about it.
How can celebrities continue to support? And I was thinking, even though you are lending because you're looking for money, you have a following, can you go a little deeper to know actually what happens to the girls just by talking to them?
Oh yes, absolutely. I believe so. It's very important not just to talk about it, but when you engage with the girls and the people in these situations that you're advocating for, you get a first-hand knowledge of what they're going through. And I do that, and I'm sure a lot of other people do that, because if not, you'll just be at the surface. You'll just be scratching the surface, and you'll not be knowledgeable enough about the stuff that you're advocating for. Celebrities don't live in the sky. They interact with people, they interact with young girls, boys, children, and it's very important for them to lend their voice, because people look up to them, people listen to them. And if Kate is talking about something, yeah, that's true, I remember, lately for the past 1 week, Al Jazeera has been putting up my video. I ran for office in 2014, and lately they've just been repeating it. And people are like, oh, Kate, you went through this. Wow, I want to know more about it. I'm inspired. That's a way you've put yourself out there in that space. So they're going to come to you and like, how did you do it? Is it possible? That has already given them inspiration to want to aspire.
Let's look at what ECOWAS is doing in that regard, in the area of early marriage. Specifically, let's start from there.
I want to say that the issue of child marriage, it's not right. It's not on the border for ECOWAS, because the highest level of authority we have are the heads of state, and they have indicated they want to address the issue of child marriage. I mean, that is the highest pronouncement you can have. If the heads of state says they want to address the issue, then there is already a political will. And when there is a political will, a lot can be done. With that, then we can go ahead with our sensitization, advocacy, campaign, and intervention even at the grassroots level. So all this, we want to do more. We have done little, but we believe that in the next few months, in the next few years, our engagement on the issue of child marriage will be much more in-depth and
Hello? It wasn't me. All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm sure it will be a bit more animated now that we've had some bit of cake and coffee, right? Energy level is up. All right, that's good to know. You're all welcome. So, just before we get to the fire chat conversation, which is going to be really interactive, because the moderator of the panel has said young people see that idea on how to make Plan International youth-led. We vet all of the ideas today. There'll be plenty of it during the fire chat conversation. But just before we get there, we mentioned that our guest of honor is the Minister of Women Affairs, Dame Pauline Tallen, and she's ably represented here by Mr. Ali Andrew Madugu, is the Director of Child Development. Please, let's applaud him. He'll give us a quick 2 minutes speech. Please appreciate him as he comes here.
Good afternoon all, or is it good morning, or is it still morning? Good morning everybody, because we started our engagement since 5 a.m. so I was thinking it's already afternoon. I'm sorry for that. The CEO of Plan International Nigeria, Stephen Omole, Board Chair, Plan International, Gonvo Kroma, Executive Director of Plan International, Waka, Rotimi Josiah, Country Director of Plan International Nigeria, Charles Usie, and all the dignitaries and invitees that are here, I acknowledge all of you. On behalf of the Honorable Minister, I am here not according to how she planned it, but because the circumstances is what we call beyond her control. At the moment, as I'm talking to you, she is with Mr. President. They are inaugurating the APC campaign, women campaign group. And you know what it means if you are a Nigerian and you know the politics. Mr. President is inaugurating that group, and she is in the head of all the affairs that is taking place there. She made all effort to see that she find her way to this place, but up till now she is tied down. And she is somebody that doesn't want to keep people waiting for her. That's why she said I should please come down and apologize on her behalf, but promising you that by Wednesday, she will make sure that she is together with you in all the program, particularly after the Federal Executive Council. That is the message that she sent me to come and tell you. So I'm apologizing on her behalf, and I believe you have accepted the apology. However, she said issues of girls is something, particularly girl child, is something that is paramount in her heart and that of the ministry and the government of Nigeria. And she promised that anybody that or any organization that is working towards that, she's ready to collaborate with them and ensure that they achieve the goal and the purpose for which they are collaborating. She therefore thanked Plan International because, according to her, that is one of her strong partners. And because they are one of her strong partners, she is not taking this invitation for granted. She believes that Adibin she's here, more will be achieved in the desired plan for developing the girls in Nigeria. Therefore, accept her apology, and she promised she will continue to work with you to the best of her knowledge. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much, sir. And you promised to keep it brief, and you did. We appreciate you. Please applaud him one more time. For those who are not from Nigeria, we don't joke with politics here, so I understand why she's there. Forgive her already. All right, then. So, time for very heated, not heated in a violent way, conversation, a fire chat conversation, actually, where Hopefully, it will be as interactive as we want it to be, and young people will contribute as much ideas way forward also to the panelists here. And the interesting thing is that the fire chat conversation is going to be moderated by a young person. Don't be fooled, I'm not a young person. So she's, I'm sure, in tuned, and she's going to moderate. She's going to be like the representative of young people here. And I'm really excited to call Miss Janada. She's a girl activist, and she'll be the moderator of the fire chat conversation. Please boost her morale, applaud her very well. Thank you very much. So it's going to run for 1 hour. She takes over from this point. You're welcome.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much, my predecessor. Before I start, I would like you to look around. Look around the banner. Look everywhere. Can you see whose picture is on it? Okay, yeah, it is me. Yeah. Actually, I am very honored and privileged to be here. And I actually want to appreciate Plan International for giving me such a platform. Coming from Borno State, Nigeria, ravaged by the insurgency for years, me being on this banner has actually given me hope that other young girls out there can actually learn, lead, strive, and decide for themselves. It's a great honor and a privilege, actually, because we have experienced a lot of insurgency, crisis, and all that. But Plan International has always been there, supporting us, giving us hope. So we want to say thank you very much, Plan International. Please, a round of applause for Plan International. So I am very, very honored to moderate this fire chat conversation with honorable members of the high table. We have the CEO, Plan International, Mr. Stephen Omole, an able CEO, of course. Thank you for coming, sir. So we have the board chair, Gunvor Kroman, a very intelligent woman. Yes. We have the executive director, West Africa and Central Africa, that is Waka Hub. A very eloquent person, I call him. Yes, he's very eloquent. Rotimi Josiah. And we will also be having Mr. Charles Usi, that is the country director, Nigeria. A very, very distinguished man, of course. So we would kick off. The fire chats conversation is going to last for 1 hour. Okay. We'll also be having Nana Chidi Emmanuel, the board chair, director for Nigeria. So she'll also be with us on the fire chat conversation. I would urge us all, young people, please let's interact. This is a very good avenue for us to ask questions, to also learn, and to contribute our own quota for our development. Because this is actually a forum that has been placed for us to tell people what is wrong with us, where we will actually want them to help us. So without further waste of time, we have 1 hour for this fire chat conversation, and each of the panelists will be having 5 minutes each. So I would like to start with you, our CEO, Mr. Stephen Omole. What are the promises and the pathway to achieve this global strategy? What are your promises?
Pathways to achieving this plan, commitments, promises. I think I want to go beyond promises and really land on commitments. I'll outline 3, and I'm happy to do more based on time. The first one is that we have to be deeply rooted in the communities, working in a networked organizations that are locally led, that are youth-centered, that work with young people, that we work with girl activists, but also boy activists. My first point there is that how do we ensure that in our engagement to create the impact that we need, that we are deeply rooted in the community. We will not make that change if it is top down. It has to be bottom up. So that is the first key thing as a commitment in terms of what we want to do to land in the strategy. For the Nigeria's context, really, it is very important, therefore, that in everything that we do in the implementation phase, that we do it with and through the local partners, local actors, and as I mentioned before, I would love to see young people at the core of the implementation. They have the solutions, and let us listen to them so that we can work on those solutions that they present to us. So that is the first cluster. The second cluster is that we need to expand that partnership. That partnership has to be embodied in the structures that we work with, locally, interstate, regionally, and internationally. And that is the second piece when we say globally connected. That we have to ensure that we create an enabling environment more broadly to support the work that is happening in Nigeria. Now, so that is the broader partnership agenda. Now, with that, it means that we have to create an investment portfolio. We have to create an investment that accompanies the strategy. So we cannot implement it if we don't have an investment. So we have an investment plan. And that will also mean that nationally, here in Nigeria, what can we do to grow income? What can we do to grow revenue, develop capabilities and capacities that we can empower? And let me retract the word empower. That we can give power to the young people. That we can give power to these local community-based organizations. That means that we have to give them the resources to deliver. The third thing, in my viewpoint, if we have to effectively manage this, is to trust the young people. We need to trust all the organizations that are implementing. But why do I say young people? I believe that the solutions that young people are going to give us in walking the last mile is a big commitment for me when you ask the question of commitment. How do we trust and give and shift fully to the young people? We need to yield to the young people and trust them that they can lead. So I want the young people to move beyond activism and have young people to be our strategic thinkers. I need the young people to move beyond the ambassadorial role and become the key decision makers and offering solutions for implementation. That is my message. And then the fourth one that I want to share here is how do we create an enabling environment? And that is my dilemma. We don't have an enabling environment to create that space that I just described. And that begins with me in plan as a CEO. I need to create that enabling environment, and that enabling environment will mean that even at sitting at the table at the leadership level are the young people. And so why am I saying that is a dilemma? Because we are not there yet. I'm being very open with you. We have to create that enabling environment. We have to create that space that embraces diversity, inclusion, and that embraces the young people coming at the table and making those decisions. But we are making progress. Even the whole idea of sitting here today engaging with you is already a good step we are making. I would like this to happen more. But I also like the young people to challenge me as I speak to you. Yasmin from Indonesia is the acting CEO for Plan International. And she's not just acting for as you know, a tokenist idea that we have a young person acting as a global CEO for one day. She's going to be there for the next few days acting and taking decisions that I would have taken otherwise if I sat in that chair. Now, we have to trust young people that they are great leaders. And that is what I wanted to share now, that enabling environment is important. It starts with me. I don't want to speak on behalf of others, and I need to demonstrate it. And then just finally, and I'll stop. We need to work with the government on legislation. We need to work with the government on legislation and be bold in our advocacy. One of the things that impresses me most, I look at the leadership in Nigeria, both governance and management, and then I engage with the staff here, and I saw that over the last 2 days, you are bold, and bold in a good way. Being bold in a positive way, but being bold in challenging status quo. Being bold in asking even the government that what can we do together? Don't do it alone. We have to accompany the government. Government has to accompany us and see what can we do in the area of legislation? What can we do in the areas of shifting the power? And I'm so happy that even in this meeting, we have a government representative. Really grateful for that. And you heard the clear message coming from the minister. And he even told us that I believe, otherwise he wouldn't have said that. And I really like the idea that we work in partnership with the government. We cannot do it alone. We need the government on our side. And so thank you, sir, for coming here. And thank you also that the government is able to accompany us in this journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. That was amazing. Actually, talking about enabling environment, this is actually an enabling environment for us to have you here, sit with young people and actually discuss. And talking about investment plans and giving power to young people, trusting them and also yielding to young people. And also young people becoming strategic thinkers, not only activists, and also working hand in hand with the government. Thank you very much for that, sir. So moving on, we would have... the next in line is Gunvor Kronman. That is the board chair, ma'am. So what is the assembly members' commitment to the strategy implementation?
Thank you. Well, as a global organization, of course, first of all, any boards or assemblies' commitment should also be to keep the CEO and his whole team, all the country organizations and the members accountable for implementing the strategy, to actually make sure that everybody is doing what we have said that we're going to do. So everything Stephen was just mentioning is something that we also, as a board, our members' assembly, will hold the organization accountable for. That is our role. On a more personal note, I think one of the things that have saddened me most over the past years is to see that education has become the new battlefield. We look at Iran, we look at Afghanistan, we look at the Sahel region. Also here in Nigeria, there are huge challenges. And education is at the core of any development, and it's at the core of giving young girls and women a better chance in life. So continuing the really good and well-known work Plan is doing in the educational sector is something that I personally commit a lot to. The second thing I want to commit to is what we have been talking about here a lot, the sharing of power, the locally led. And we need to talk about power. We need to show it's possible to be very successful as we are today here, led by you and your colleagues from a different generation. I'm committing personally to listen throughout my period as a chair, to learn from the younger generation everywhere I go, because there is a huge generational gap in our global conversation about how to solve the future challenges in the world. And we need to give up. I come from a country myself where I live with the government, where we have 5 parties in the government. All the 5 party leaders are women. The average age of this government when they took over, just when the pandemic started, was 33 years old. 3 of them have been on maternity leave since they took over 3 years ago, and they have been doing a fabulous job. I think these kind of examples that young people can change the world to the better, it's really important that we share these examples. So if we as PLAN can commit to show examples of success where young people have led positive change in their societies, I think we have come a long way. I think I stop here, but accountability, again, from a governance point of view, it's always about accountability and to keep people accountable, also yourself. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. So it's always about holding the organization accountable from your board chair, and also continuing the good work, supporting PLAN to continue the good work in terms of education and engaging youths and young people. Thank you so much for that. So I hope our youths over here, you're actually grabbing one or two things, because you also interact with them after this session. So coming to you, Mr. Rotimi Josiah, what is the vision for the West Africa, for the Waka Hub? What is the vision from your own end?
Thank you so much for this platform and for this engagement. It's really great to be together and to talk about this strategy. As I said before, a couple of weeks back, we were together with all the regional directors and the regional management team to reflect and discuss together how we will make this happen, how we will translate this strategy into results for the people we serve. The first pillar of the strategy is to increase our impact. And what we discussed together with all my team members is to truly trust young people and invest more in young people initiatives. You all know that we initiated what we call Youth Challenge Fund, an initiative led by you, designed by you all, to really trust young people initiatives, to invest with flexible funding, young people initiative, and make sure that we provide the support they need. We are seeing that as a very important platform when we are talking about increasing our impact. We want to do more of that, not only as financial support to young people, but also as a way to mobilize and facilitate and empower the movement of young people growing across the region. So we really want to do more of Youth Challenge Fund. I know you challenged us several times around how we can really make the Youth Challenge Fund framework flexible for you. And that's what we will be discussing with you all, how we can really do more of that, but doing it in a way that we can hold ourselves accountable, but make it really accessible for you. The other aspect is to co-create what we will be doing across the region with you all. We agreed to make sure that all our program and influencing initiatives are really designed and co-created by you. And we will not stop there. What we believe is also to promote youth panels across the region, even at regional level, to make sure that we have a youth panel at regional level guiding and supporting the decision making within PLAN International. That's part of what we believe will help us to really strengthen our legitimacy, which is the second pillar of our organization, our strategy. Still on that strengthening our legitimacy, we really want to think about our partnership portfolio. Who are we working with? And how can we work with a diverse group of partners who will truly help to deliver on our ambition? We want to work more with activists, work more with youth partners, networks, to make sure that we can together reach that level, that ambition we all set for ourselves. You know that across the region, we are dealing with several crises. Across the Lake Chad Basin region, across the Sahel, we are dealing with different crises affecting children, girls, young people. And what we want to do is to see more and more young people part of that response, part of the reflection, to find the relevant solutions for the humanitarian response we have. Currently, it's not the case. We spent time in Freetown to listen to young people from the Sahel, and they told us what they need from us as an organization to really support them. We want to invest more in young people in humanitarian action, making sure that they are taking the lead and they are driving the implementation and actions there. We also want the CEO talk about growing funding. That's what we want to do as well. Reflecting on strategic partners across the region and making sure that we can work together with the partners to attract more quality funding. Because when we are talking about increasing our impact, we are talking about moving from 100 million girls and young women to 200. We need resources for that. So we will be working together to really see how to attract quality funding together to resource our ambition. Let me stop there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for that. So as the executive director has said from the Waka Hub, we need to increase the impact by investing more in young people and also partnership to increase the funding. Thank you, sir, for that. Okay, moving on. Hope it's not boring. Are we together? Okay, let's go. So the country director, sir, Mr. Charles Usi, what is Nigeria's commitment to the global strategy?
Thank you very much for that. Plan Nigeria will commit to one, ensuring that as we begin the process of updating the strategy for Nigeria, that young people are at the heart of it. And when I mean at the heart of it, I mean they are part of helping us to review what has happened in the previous strategy. How well, how far did we go? Did we come? What did we do well? And then where were the gaps? My commitment is to ensure that Plan Nigeria gets young people to support us in this reflection. And then going forward, in line with the new strategy we're launching today, my commitment on behalf of my team in Nigeria is to ensure that young people help us identify practical ways that we could support a young people's movement, a girls' movement that will reposition, the agenda of young people in Nigeria in meaningful ways. There are very beautiful documents and stories out there. We need to bring them to life in practical ways, in ways that young people across Nigeria, a young girl sitting in a typical poor community in Nigeria can feel the impact, of our work and can connect. We want young people to feel part of a movement. We want young people to feel part of, an agenda that is, beyond them, that they see that there are enough support, adequate support of the right people mobilized, to actually bring about the strategy to life. So we want to touch on the everyday lives of people. So one of the commitments we are making here for Plan Nigeria is that the focus will be on the living realities of young people, where we look at education, we're looking at healthcare, livelihoods. These are issues that affect every young person in Nigeria. And we want to find out how we can together, bring about some changes, some benefits for young people in meaningful ways. It's not about my change. It's not about what I think. We want it to be what the young people use us as a vehicle. My challenge to young people, even sitting here, is saying, use Plan as a vehicle for where you want to go to. Let's do it together. So it's not me getting on the bus and you getting off, or it's not me getting off and you getting into the bus. Let's get into the bus together and let's drive to that destination you want to be. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for that. So young people, let's use Plan International as our vehicle. Please, let's do that. Young people need to be supported more and more. Young people need to help Plan International identify ways to further promote young girls and women, and also mobilization and touching lives effectively. Thank you, sir, for that. Okay, moving on. For our last panelists, last but never the least, Dr. Nana Chidi Emmanuel. Your question is, what is the Nigerian perspective on the strategy implementation? We've heard from the global board. So what is Nigeria's perspective on the implementation of the strategy?
In addition to what my colleagues have emphasized and said earlier on, we are committed. Our commitment, it's endless. We're committed to ensuring the equality, that gender equality is not just understood, but has the impact that we expect to see. We are committed to ensuring the rights of girls in Nigeria and beyond. We're committed to seeing the vision of reaching 200 million girls. We are committed to ensuring that we mobilize the resources that are necessary to ensure that the young people have access to the support they need to have, the technical support, the financial support, and the board is committed to mobilize at all levels whatever we need to mobilize to see that not only do we implement, but we have the expected impact. So I stand boldly on the with the support of the board and on behalf of the board to say our commitment to implementation is 100%. I'm also committed to ensuring that the young people understand that they have the rights to be accountable and require accountability from those who owe them accountability. All stakeholders, whether in the private and public sector or whether in politics, that when the policies are put in place, we don't only hear of the implementation, but we are part of the implementation. We are committed to seeing that young people are part of that implementation. So I look forward to a wonderful rollout of the strategic plan. I am committed, and I'm sure that the board members will celebrate the success that we all will achieve.
That it's effective. The vision of reaching out to 200 girls is also achieved, mobilizing and ensuring the expected outcome and impact is made, and also 100%, you're 100% committed. Thank you very much, ma'am, for that. So now it's time for other young girl child activists and other young people out there, both online and within the auditorium, to start forwarding your questions. Please, we'll take questions. This is time for questions and answers. I think we have a mic there. If you have a question, you just do raise your hand. And if you're selected, you go to the mic there and speak. Does anyone have a question? Okay, they're supposed to have questions. We've actually learned a lot. All right, so one of you.
Beyond questions, we also need contribution on how
Of
to make
course.
it youth-centric.
Yes.
All right.
Am I permitted to stand?
Yes.
Hello, everybody. My name is Paulina Hannah Bangura, and I'm from Sierra Leone. I've heard all what the speakers have said, and it was well constructed. But based on what I've heard, Nigeria wants to reach 20 million girls, 200 million girls. That is globally, the 200 million girls. And Nigeria also wants to meet 20 million girls in Nigeria in the next 5 years. So I want to know how you want to go about it. Because I'm well capacitated, that's why you see me here today. And I also want other girls to go through the same path. We have so many girls around Nigeria that are stranded in terms of capacity building. And if we want to see young people reach to that peak, we have to capacitate the young people. We have to give them opportunities. And I also want the Plan Nigeria to see young people as partners instead of always saying young people, young people. In that way, we create opportunities for them. We create the room for them to make meaningful contribution that will be useful to the Plan International. Thank you.
Okay, so who are you throwing your question to amongst them? Or any one of them can answer? Okay, all right. So let me just rephrase the question. Any one of you can answer? Okay, so she's talking about how do you intend to build the capacity of young girls or young people so that you can actually reach 20 million of them here in Nigeria and then 200 across the world, if I get you. So what is the capacity building plan for young people? Yes, it's better we take it one after the other so that just brief, just a minute or two to respond to the question, please, because of time.
Okay, I mobilize resources. And these resources we're talking about in-country resources, resources in capacity, resources in finances, resources at the grassroots. It was good to hear that our executive director mentioned the bottom-up approach. And the truth about it is the capacity locally and working through local NGOs and partners to implement and to create the necessary awareness and to empower those young women and young people within the communities where they work, our local NGOs work. Nigeria is very diverse, and all the local partners already know the environment very well. They're conversant with the environment, they're already engaging in that environment. And we have identified some obvious areas of gaps to help fast track the process, to help improve the network and the expansion of programs, which we're going to be doing more of and supporting. So at different levels, we are also engaging, whether it is the private sector or the public sector, whether it's in people in governance, political office holders, to see that when we add our voice, we're also able to support them. And of course, through the private sector, we're going to add a lot of capacity building in the area of action advocacy, being able to accountability mechanism and ask for policies that need to be implemented if there are areas of gaps, and also domesticating policies that are already accepted and approved nationally. So we know that besides working with young people, young girls, that men are very critical in our society. Religious leaders are very critical in our society. The value systems are critical. So we're going to put all hands on deck and work with everybody from every sector and every cadre, because it's going to be a mass mobilization. It's going to be like going to war. So it's in the military strategy, you put everything on the table because action needs to be taken, and it needs to be taken now. So we're going to sit back, map up the strategy. We're in all the geopolitical areas, we're all in states, and then we're going to roll out the plan and piggyback on any programs or opportunities we have with other partners.
Thank you so much.
So
Hope that answers the question. So everybody is involved. Everybody is involved. All right. So any other person?
Hello, everyone. My name is Hawa Yoki, and I'm from Sierra Leone. And thank you so much. We have listened to everything that you have been said, but I think we're forgetting something. The impact or the role of girls, their upbringing, all starts from our homes. It starts in our communities. It starts in our churches, in the mosques. And we are talking about reaching out to 200 million girls. So how can we ensure that our parents, our communities, our religious leaders, how can we bring them on board in terms of achieving or reaching out to 200 million girls? And of course, we spoke about accountability. And I would like to throw a challenge to Plan International. Let us create an accountability framework wherein young people are leading it, so that we will be able to hold Plan International accountable. Thank you.
Thank you. So, any of you want to respond to the question?
Maybe I just quickly pick up on that. I think it's a great idea that you just presented. It's a very innovative idea of having we do have and are going to have even more accountability charts, and Plan is actually very good at developing those kind of things. But I don't think we have what you just mentioned, an accountability board for. So let's just take that idea and see what we can do about it, both at the global level and maybe also if you would be interested to do something at the national level.
All right, thank you so much. So the other question she asked was, how do we take up parents, religious leaders, and other community leaders to become our partners in this strategy we want to implement? Is there any framework put in place to take up parents?
Thanks so much. As the chair of the board of Nigeria said, in fact, what that ambition is something we own together. It's Plan and our partners as well. So the religious and traditional leaders and all the key stakeholders from the community level to the national and global level, we should work with them. And when we create platform where people are able to contribute, we listen to people and we co-design the interventions, the relevant interventions together. That is the only way we will get there. So combining the work we are doing directly and the advocacy initiatives we are also doing to create the enabling environment will be key in really multiplying our impact. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Hope that answers your question. Good. The next person.
My name is Okebogo Chinyere. I'm from Nigeria, and I'm so wowed by the work Plan is doing, and I'm so proud of this convention here in Nigeria. So my question is, in order to reach out to more youths, more girls in the grassroots level, what are the modalities for funding for the girls get power? Because I know that we need funding for more vocational skills to empower girls on leadership trainings and so many things. So what are the modalities for funding to be able to get to more girls in the grassroots? Thank you.
All right. So does any one of you want to respond to the question? What are the funding in place?
I hope that I was not going to answer the question about money, but it's not about money. You know, it's about shifting power, and we'll break down this what it really means. But let me just go back to the idea of investment. You know, Gunva and I just came. Before coming here, we were in Zurich, where we sort of launched the Global Girls Foundation, which is an investment plan, exactly what you're describing. We hope that we can have this replicated in many countries where we work, and that we will be able to generate resources locally, regionally, and internationally to grow the investment portfolio. But this investment portfolio will come down to support the work that is being done here and in many other places. But here is the issue. As we were discussing yesterday as well, we said, well, if it is bottom-up, Nigeria is a major powerhouse. How can we come together in Nigeria to start mobilizing this investment here in this country so that it is not top-down? I strongly believe that if you look at the countries where we work, the whole idea about decolonizing aid is exactly that. That how can we stand strong and mobilize the community nationally here and say that we can, in Nigeria, we don't have to depend on someone outside coming to, tell us what to do. We can do it from here, we can make the investment here, and then we can really shift that power. And that power will be in our hands to do it. Then you have the decision making. Then you have the solutions in your hands. You know, I say this because I've worked in both contexts. And now as a CEO for this organization, I have to do it the right way, meaning that if I engage now with Rotimi here, who is the regional director for the region, and Charles at a country level, then we have to come together and look about and talk about the issue of investment. When you land on your strategy for Nigeria, it will be accompanied with a budget, with an investment plan. I really, really want to encourage Charles and the team here to say, what can we do here nationally in Nigeria? And then we can see where the gaps are. But really, it has to be grown, it has to be bottom up. And then just finally on this one. I think it was also mentioned in one of the earlier questions that was posed about education and that charity begins at home. We will need everyone. We will need, if we want to push this agenda, we will need everyone at the table. And Dr. Nana mentioned it already. You said that if charity begins at home, that you need parents. But there's one thing I want to add there. Early childhood development in education. It cuts across all strands. I said I was going to say the last one, but I'll give you the last piece. So I was in Uganda 3 weeks ago, and I visited this community in eastern Uganda. They wanted to demonstrate to me what the power of the community, how important the power of the community is, and the teachers and the children coming together. It was not about plan. It was about the community coming together to invest in their school. It was about the parents saying that, yes, we want to invest in early childhood development in education and total education, to talk about even the issues of comprehensive sexuality education, because it starts from home. So I just wanted to say that there is a plan, but we need to really work together and see how can we grow investment here in Nigeria, and then we see what the gaps are and support. I can't agree with you anymore.
Thank you very much for that. Please, a round of applause for him. All right, we'll take another question.
Thank you. Thank you so much. My name is Rahama Isa from Ghana. In celebrating International Youth Day this year, during the deliberations, one of the things that came up to achieve intergenerational solidarity as a theme for this year is the engagement of young people. So I think Plan International will not only be achieving gender equality by engaging young people, but also be achieving intergenerational solidarity for all. In Ghana, there are several times that Plan International will open, grant applications, and youth-led organizations will be invited to also apply. And after the application, you realize that one of the things that comes up is whether you qualify, do you have the needed structures, are you well equipped as a youth-led to be able to assess that grant. So at the end, you see that the youth-led drop, and fully grown organizations led by the elderly, get to win, and it goes on like that. And several times too, opportunities come, but as young people with the qualification, being a youth-led and also being a young person, you qualify, but without the needed structures in terms of your accounts, budgets, a lot of things, in terms of skills that is required to be able to run, you see that you get disqualified. I had a country, the global CEO mentioned about, moving from being activists to being strategic thinkers. I think my question goes to him. I want to know, going forward, what we will want to do in order to ensure, what's the plan in order to ensure that we actually move young people from being, activists to, strategic thinkers, to being decision makers and also being strategic implementers. Thank you.
Thank you for that. So you can respond to the question.
Yeah, thank you for that. Let me give an example. So I met a group of young activists in Washington, D.C. I met a group of 5, and then in the middle of the meeting, we're joined by 2 ambassadors, youth ambassadors. So we're around 8 at the table. And they challenged me and they said, so Stephen, we see that you're going to recruit your marketing director. What are you going to market? Who is your target audience? And I paused for a while because I've never been asked that question. I didn't expect, of all the things I was expecting to, to have a conversation, I didn't expect that. And so I started to probe and say, well, and then they went on and said that we can see you are stuttering. So let us break down for you. So 75% of the global population, in any country you go, some are 60, 65, 70%, but 75% on average are young people. So any marketing process that you want to put out there, any research that you want to do, any documentation or publication that you want to put out there, it's got to appeal to this audience. And this audience is 75% of the global population. You need a young person to do it for you. You don't need someone who does not understand the dynamics of this huge market to do your marketing. We know what we want. Don't give us the solutions. The solutions rest in our hands. Empower us so that we can do this for you. And then they gave me this last example. They said, if you look at Bill and Melinda Gates, and sorry to mention now organizations here, but I hope this is Chatham House, but of course I think it's a known issue. They say that if you look at the research that they do, and you look at their marketing space, it's run and led by the young people. Even the latest publication that came out was captured and led by the young people. So what they were telling me is that the idea of seeing us as strategic thinkers goes beyond just activism. We have the capability and the skills and the competencies to be trusted to run those key departments in big organizations such as Plan International. In other words, what they are telling me is that, sir, we are here ready to become your marketing director. We can help you. Now, when you hear the young people talk, they are basically saying that you have the wrong people working for you. This is the message. They are bold with me in telling me that, Stephen, you have the wrong people working for you. Trust us and let us sit with you at the table. Then we can do marketing for you. We can do sponsorship for you. We can do research for you. And the list goes on and on and on. So I want to see, and that was the basis of me saying that we shift beyond activism and bring those strategic thinking and the mindset and the skills to the table. But then we, therefore, have to create that space. And when we do recruitment, we don't say 10 years experience, 20 years experience, 30 years experience. No. We have to create the enabling environment for you so that you can be there.
Thank you, sir. So young people, are we ready to think outside the box? Are we ready? All right, that is good. So another question. Oh, I can see plenty of hands and we're running out of time. Okay, we'll take a few.
Thank you very much. So I would like to start. I hope that's fine.
Yeah, you can
Yes,
start.
thank you so much. So for the purpose of inspiring other girls here, I would introduce myself. My name is Dr. Azizat Ishao. I'm a medical doctor and I'm currently the Speaker of Nigerian Youth Parliament. So we've had a good relationship, of course, with Plan International, and I just have some suggestions. Because generally, gender equality, democracy, human rights, development, they are all features of an egalitarian society that is built on stability. Most of the communities or countries that are focused for gender equality are not necessarily stable. So I have this suggestion that aside from focusing directly on the target audience for women empowerment or girls equality, that plan should also have a space whereby they become critical stakeholders in issues that might affect the stability of their member states. So things like poverty, insecurity, these are the things that can destroy the foundation of gender equality. More empowered women can affect education. From a U report that was carried on earlier this year by another organization, when young people were asked what was the major concern while they are not in school, and insecurity was a big issue. So while we talk about some adoptive forms of education, they are temporarily. So if we have the voice of Plan International on other critical issues that might affect what we've been building in development, then that will make sense. So poverty, the issue of poverty, it might be in terms of policy, it might be in terms of what contribution in that space, government, empowering government ability to do that, in terms of insecurity as well. So plan can also be a critical stakeholders in ensuring accountability so that whatever we are doing in this space can lead to development. So not every 5 years we are going back from the beginning again, not every 2 years we are starting from the scratch again. So thank you so much.
Thank you for that. I hope the suggestion has been taken. Thank you. So, all right, more questions. There are some people that have been raising their hands here. Yes.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Faith Adaji. And I would just like to ask this question on trust and co-creation with young people. What systems are actually in place? Because it seems like Plan is always talking about young people, just like she had previously mentioned. Plan has created a space for us at the table. So, but we don't get to have that vibe of, okay, we feel that Plan trusts us enough to carry out this project, to carry out this from the grassroots down to implementing all this project. I feel like you guys don't trust us enough to give us that adequate power to say, okay, yes, go ahead, you can do this. Like, we are not getting it from you people. So what plans are in place that would say, okay, this is for the youths and they can do it? Thank you very much. Okay.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. My question is, this is not the first time that we're hearing we want the youth to take charge, we want them to lead initiative and all. And oftentimes we've heard that, and at the end of the day, nothing happens. So how can you get young people to actually trust you that this time we're going to be part of the planning, we're going to be part of the implementing, we're going to be part of the campaigns, we're going to be part of everything, not just as figureheads, but being part of it?
Okay, I think let's just take this too so that they can respond.
A lot
to
of
it.
trust issues.
Yes, so there's a lot of trust issues here. Yeah, let them respond to it.
Okay.
To both. I think they're asking almost the same question. Yes. So who would you like to, or any of you?
Oh, thank you so much for that question. I heard that in many places already. Even in Sierra Leone, when we were together with all the country directors, we heard that. What we want to do is to partner together. We need to learn from you. When we are talking about co-creation, it starts with the ambition we set in each country. And when Charles will be working on Charles and team will be working on the strategy for Nigeria, how can we partner together and design what we believe is the relevant or are the relevant interventions for Nigeria? And then when we move to more practical project or program level, we can also work together to ensure that what we are focusing on in terms of project and program, they are aligned with the ambition we set in those countries. The way we really want the youth panels we are now focusing on to be part of Plan International decision making and leadership across the region, for example, it's to make sure that is happening. And you need to use that platform to hold us accountable for listening, for evolving our practices, and making sure that we continue to improve and strengthen that. We are not there. It's a journey, and we need to continue to learn together. But you can trust us. We mean what we are saying. Yeah.
All right, let her respond to this same question, please.
Can I just, because I think it's a fair question, and we've been far too slow all over the organization. So I admit and accept your comment very much. I'm coming back to keeping the organization accountable. I see that as my role to continuously remind of this. Stephen was talking about criteria for recruitment. That's one of the key issues where you actually can make a change. I would like to still tell you that the Global Congress did make a huge difference. Maybe we have not been able to give back the feedback, how much impact the Global Congress had on the outcome of the strategy. Many things changed because of the Global Congress. And in the Global Congress, who were the main voices we listened to during 3 days? It was young people. So many of the sort of obstacles that we had in overcoming as old people in understanding what should be priorities, you convinced us to change. So I think that's one. Then actually what I have been seeing in Plan International, that there are good practices in many places. But we're not using those good practices to actually elevate those and share them. So I think for those who work with developing youth involvement and increased power in the organization, need to look for the good practices we have. And I can give you just one example from when I was chair of Plan Finland many years ago. We took 2 young board members on board on our board. And actually today we have 3 young board members, and we talk young, 1 under 18 and 2 under 25. And they have been such an asset to the organization. And when we, for example, work on proposals for the government for new legislation that is affecting young people, we let the Youth Advisory Board do the first draft. How are we going to address the government on this proposal when it goes to Parliament? And we also send our young people to present it at Parliament for the committees dealing with the legislation. That's just one example, and they have done brilliantly so far, I can also tell you that.
Thank you. All right, we'll take a few more questions.
Okay, good afternoon.
Okay.
My name is Idris Yahya. the coordinator for Activista FCT. I've heard all we've been saying since morning. They are all beautiful, and we've attended a lot of events like this. We hear beautiful promises, beautiful stories, and beautiful ideas, but at the end of it, it will end here. Yes. Now, I heard some of us saying empowerment is giving power to the people. Yes. Now, but what are the modalities put in place for these teachings to go beyond this hall to the communities, not urban communities? I've seen her speaking, yeah. I heard her speaking, yeah. Yeah, because she got empowered by plan. What about those in the communities? What are we putting in place to train those who will train them? Like training somebody from a community that will train somebody from that community. That is what I want to know.
Okay. What are the modalities in place to take whatever we're doing here to the grass?
You always know
level?
activists when they speak.
Yeah, let's take the two, then they respond.
My name is Pamela. I want to talk about building the youth capacity. So my question here is, what are the methodical structures or strategies that Plan has put in place to build the capacity of the young people to be able to do that which they are supposed to do?
All right, let's respond to them before we take the rest. Okay.
Hello everyone. My name is Ali Abbas. I am an advisor to Because International, a global youth ambassador to Dell World UK, and I'm also a youth activist and a peace and humanity advocate. So I've had everything Plan C, and Plan C we should hold them accountable. Therefore, I also want to implore our youth people to also hold ourselves accountable for whatever opportunity or whatever project that we want to implement in our various communities. So in my community, basically our core value is actually to reach out, or more like build the biggest community in Africa. So hearing the dream of Plan International saying, I can be your driver, gives me more confidence that, okay, I have someone that can be there for me. It's also telling you as a woman that there are no more barriers. Whatever dream you think you have, Plan International is here to stand by you. So nobody's gonna stop you in that way. So I implore us to really come up with strategic ways to really implement these things in our various communities. There is no barrier, basically. I see it as you just need to reach out to someone, basically, and create good relationships with people. And I feel like one of the basic things we also need to look upon is trying to create equality when it comes to sports development. More women need to participate as well, because more or less when we look at the sports sector, we're always thinking it's all the men. So in my way, I'm creating 2 sport development as well, and I'm hoping that Plan International will also partner in trying to get this development out there so we can get more women also to participate, and then create a world whereby there is equality and also equity in that way. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Permit for us to take 2 more. I think
All
as
right,
we start
okay.
to wind down.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Umi Okupe. I'm a woman and guest right advocate. So one of the things I've noticed about the gap is the mentorship gap. So I'll give an example of myself. When I started being a gender expert, trying to push in for gender-based violence, I reached out to someone at the top, and I spoke to her personally to mentor me. And that was the last time she ever picked my call, or in fact, she blocked me. So I felt really bad, and I'm asking myself, if we want to bridge this gap, and I don't have someone mentoring me, so how do I move forward? And there's this saying about young persons not wanting to be at the forefront, young persons are lazy and all of those. So this is my own personal experience, and I felt, but I think I got other people that encouraged me, and I told myself, Wumi, you can attain this. God so good, this is my 7th year of being a gender-based violence advocate, and I've grown to a part and built myself personally. So there's a huge gap between the whole intergenerational, the mentorship, the whole thing. You have people that just want to be there at the forefront. They are calling for consultants, and you're still seeing someone that is 50-something, 60-something, going in. Even you as a young person, you can actually step in that. So I think we should build, close that gap between the young person and the older generation. It will really help us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So that's more of a contribution than a question. All right.
Thank you very much. And I know that you've been asking, how do we make plan youth-led? So it's also in line with that. So the last question is going to come from here. Oops.
Hello everybody, my name is Ochu Austin Oma, and I want to comment on inclusion and partnership. Many of our speakers talked about inclusion and partnership, but if I look around, I'll see more of educated people in this place, whereas we know very well that when we talk about out-of-school children, ladies being forced into early marriage and all of that, this happens in the communities. Now, if we're talking about partnerships and inclusion, I believe that if we're arranging or meeting to get strategies in place to handle this, we need their voices too, to know in what ways to come in. So many of our communities have, many of our communities have youth groups. And how are we connecting with these youths? They have voices in their communities too. We have situations where youth leaders are coming together to say, this is one of us, and she's not going to be forced into marriage, she's too young. So we should also invest more in partnering with these youth groups and traditional rulers across our individual countries, communities, so that this could work. Thank you.
Okay. So we're done? All right. So I'll just quickly go through the questions one by one. All right. So the first person over there from Activista, right? He mentioned what are the plans in place to engage people that are in the community, people that are at the grassroots in what we are doing, like teaching someone in the community to teach another person. Do we have modalities in place?
Yes, we have practical examples. We have not named it what I'm going to say, but in actual sense, the experience is what it is. The way I describe it is paying it forward. So we have, first we have the Girls Get Equal campaign. It's a group of young girls who are based in different communities, some of them in very rural communities. And they are connecting young people. So as soon as they get empowerment, encouragement, support from Plan, then they reach out to other young girls like them in their communities and they build that network. In fact, there's one of them here who received she engaged with Plan in Abuja, but she's based in Niger State, right? Am I correct? What, remind me your name? Yeah. Yes, Tope. And she went back to Niger State and mobilized girls in Niger State. We have not set up the campaign in Niger State, just like Activista, but she has set it up by herself with other young girls in Mina, in a community there. That's what we try to do. I have a colleague here, Ilyasu, who is working with a group of young people who we call the Kaleri Youth Group. They are part of the communities in different parts in Borno State. In typical communities, I have gone to some of those communities myself. In fact, in some of those communities, you can't access it by road. Sometimes we have to go by chopper, by helicopter. We have girls who are part of the groups set up by Plan in those difficult and very rural communities. It is a strategy of paying it forward because resources are limited. There's only so much we can do as Plan. So the intent is we reach out to a couple of girls, we build the movement, and they reach out to others. In Nigeria, or in many places, we call it movement organizing. It's different from organizing a movement. Movement organizing is organic. It's connected at rural levels with like-minded people, and they do it for the sake of themselves, and it is self-motivated, and it's self-enhanced, you know, from internal mechanisms that they develop by themselves and not enforced upon them. These are practical examples we have. What we intend to do going forward with the strategy is to do more of it and be able to create a ripple effect. Our intention is by the end of 5 years, we should have reached the tipping point where it takes over the atmosphere in Nigeria and we have young girls who are actually in charge of things.
at least that concerns their lives and their welfare. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So do we have Girls Get Equal champions in the house? Okay, yeah. You're doing well. Thank you so much. The next question, I think, posed by her. Modalities in place to engage young people. Where are the modalities put in place to engage young people? Capacity building, yes.
Yeah, thanks so much for that. When we say youth-centered approach, which is one of the key priorities of our strategy, the ambition there is to invest in young people so that they are truly active drivers of change in their context. That means we need to invest more and more in their leadership development. Someone talked about mentorship. It's about that as well. Different modalities and strategies to make sure that young people can grow their skills and leadership to drive changes in each of their contexts. We are also focusing on movement building. Charles just gave an example. I was in Burkina Faso a couple of months back where I met the Girls Out Loud network. And we have, as part of that platform, more than 1,200 girls across Burkina Faso connected to one another around the issues affecting them. And that's a powerful network. And we want to connect that beyond countries, across countries and beyond countries. So movement building, supporting movement is so critical. And that is where we can also see how solidarity groups can be there to really provide support and mentorship, as we said. And the third aspect is around enabling environment. We need to work with others, civil society organizations, government, and others to make sure that we all provide the enabling environment needed for girls and young people to thrive. What we are adding to that framework now is the youth in governance space. How to also bring young people voices within Plan International to really shape our decision making internally so that we can really serve. It's a learning journey for us, and we believe together we will continue to strengthen and improve. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. A round of applause for him, please. Okay.
Just to add one thing there. You need to very, very proud of yourself. Let me tell you why. The UN just created the UN Youth Office. The work that you have done contributed to that, the advocacy that you've been very bold to talk about it for years and years. So I go to New York and I'm being told, Plan International, thank you so much, because it is because of what you have done with the young people that today the Secretary General created this UN Youth Office. That is number one. Number two, the Youth Declaration that was approved in the UN General Assembly with 71 articles. 22 of those articles in terms of commitments came from you and your colleagues globally, worldwide. And Plan was at the core of it. Now, I was not there. I'm only 8 months old in this organization. But I was being told, thank you, Plan, for even pushing for this youth commitment to be out there now. So I wanted to place that perspective that in what I've seen, and I know this was a firefight to discuss some of the issues that we can advance to even become better, but you have done a fantastic job. I didn't want us to leave this meeting without saying those two big achievements and the milestones that you have done. It's through you, that's why we'll be able to talk about this. Thank you very much.
Young people, a round of applause for yourselves. You're doing very, very well. Keep on the good work. Thank you, sir. Okay, so now another person over there talked about sport development when it comes to gender inclusion. So what are the plans in place? Do you have plans in place for gender inclusion when it comes to sport development? Sports development. Are you looking forward to engaging more girls in sport development? Do you have plans towards it?
Our Benin country director here, and I know we have several initiatives in that area in Benin. I don't know if you want to share around sports development and how we can use that to promote gender equality and inclusion. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, because Yes.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you very much, Fatima, for the opportunity. My name is Carl and I work for Plan International in the Benin Republic. So sports and leadership for young women and girls, it's a key important part of our strategy regarding the work that we are doing in terms of changing the stereotypes, but also the long-standing forces that can lead to fragmentation regarding this topic. So what we have done in Benin, particularly in the northern part, which is a little bit more complex than the southern part, it's to work with the youth centers, the community, the leaders, and we have trained the champions in those communities to work and to become the leadership, but also the athletes. So we use the youth as a platform to go forward and to develop those leadership skills amongst in the community, but also with the girls, because we see that the leadership is not only about the girls themselves, it's about the context. So it's a people plus context plus the opportunity that have been provided to them. So I think the platform is being successful. We are replicating it in many parts of the country, and we have got also the buy-in from the government and also from the Ministry of Sport, because within those champions we are finding athletes, literally athletes that can represent dignity and you know, in a very good way the country. So sports, it's a nice way to move forward. It's an opportunity for us to go and tackle those, I would say, social pressures, but at the same time it's an opportunity for us so girls can stand strong to change the world.
All right, thank you so much. Because of time, we're actually behind schedule. All right, so the last question was about inclusion and partnership by bringing in people that are at the grassroots, like out of school children. I hope next time when we're having such an event, we'll actually see such people. All right, and then mentorship gap, just run over, just a few seconds. One of you should comment. How can we bridge this gap whereby other mentors mentor young people to come up?
It's not something that is being done, and if it's being done perhaps in different quarters, but one of the ideas that we are trying to do in the whole area of membership development is to do the twinning, which means that countries that aspire to become members of Plan International can work together with their colleagues and counterparts from other areas where they are full-fledged members. And that twinning goes beyond just organizational development. It's also mentoring and working and exchanging skills. So it can be done within the regions, within the countries, but also abroad. So it's a good idea that has been presented. We can think through it, and when we develop the accountability framework with the young people, and which we love the idea, by the way, thank you for being solution-oriented, then we can actually include these aspects, especially on the mentoring as well. How do we land on that? So I don't have any example where we're actually doing it, but it's an idea that we embrace and we can build into the accountability framework.
All right, thank you so much. Please, a round of applause for yourselves. Young people, I won't take this clap. A round of applause. You need the energy. Then a round of applause for our panelists. They have really answered our questions well. Thank you so much, the CEO, Plan International. Thank you very much, the ED. Thank you very much, the board chair. And thank you so much, our country director. Thank you so much for this platform you've given the youth to actually come and have a discussion with you.
And thank you for leading us in this. It has been fantastic.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. All right, this has really been a fire chat because it has really been heated up. So now we've come to the end of this session. I want to leave these words with our youths. You have influence. Continue bringing something tangible to the table. Power can either create or destroy. So the power you're being given, use it to create something tangible because you have influence. Thank you very much.
I had a white smile on my face. Please, let's applaud her one more time. She was brilliant. Trust young people. Trust them. They are capable. All right. I'm sure we all enjoyed that session. Sincere apology for those who wanted to ask questions and make life-changing contributions. We didn't get to you, but I'm sure somehow you'll get these contributions out in your own space. So thank you for your understanding. The reason why we're here, amongst other reasons, these reasons are good, but it's to launch the 2022 to 2027 global strategy for Plan International, and we'll be doing that now. It's not too much ceremony. And so we're going to call on the CEO. He's going to help us do the unveiling and the launching. It feels like a curveball, like a surprise. But you have to come forward. Not much ceremony anyway. Maybe say a word or two, something, and then we'll come, take pictures, and officially it's launched. All right. Yeah, I've been told.
Okay.
Yes. And then.
Yeah. So say a few words and then we move into. Okay. Is that okay? Okay. We all believe in change and transformation. That's why we are all here today. And we also believe that for that change and transformation to happen, that young people have to lead it. But also, we believe that for us to thrive and bring that change, that girls in particular must be at the core of that change and transformation. This strategy that we are launching now and celebrating its launch here in Nigeria will enable us to do exactly that, to reach 200 million girls that will be able to stand strong, to learn, lead, decide, and thrive. It is therefore my pleasure, on behalf of the organization, to celebrate the launch of the global strategy here in Nigeria. And together we can. Thank you.
Cutting of the tape? No. I think that has been organized. Kimberly, are we doing the cutting of the cake?
Oh, we'll take pictures.
Yes.
You can say something.
Yeah. No, I will say after.
All right. So, we'll take. How many young girls to join the pictures? All right, you come join the picture. You come join the picture. No male. Okay, young girls. Come join the picture. Young girls, yes.
So you stress that young girls, not, and you made a contribution yourself that you're not young. Let's where are the young people? We need young people because we are young people. Come on board. Let's hold it together. Some can stand actually.
Janada, go join. All right, I know it feels like we're done, but we're almost done. So can we just be seated? We have about 5-10 more minutes to go and we're wrapping up. I know I said it wasn't going to come with too much ceremony, but I did not expect that firework. I was surprised myself pleasantly. Okay, so we're going to listen to the country director, Nigeria office, Mr. Charles Use, who is going to speak to us on the Nigerian Plan Office's commitment and declaration. Earlier on, he says that he will be sharing some deep commitment with us and that you can hold them to account. So you want to pay attention. There's a lot to hold from this point on. So let's welcome Mr. Charles Use. Please appreciate him.
Let me use All right, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we're almost done with this first part of the event. After now, we'll be going for lunch. And please, the lunch is also going to be interactive. The hall for the lunch is very conducive. So please sit in clusters and in tables and extend the conversation. We all will be with you. Plant staff will sit with you. Senior members of staff will sit with you at your tables, and we'll have a conversation at least for another 1 hour before you leave. But before we leave the hall, a few things we want to say, given the privilege that we are hosting this global strategy in Nigeria, and the questions around trust, it's something we take quite seriously. And I'm happy you've challenged us today around the issues of trust. So also my brother from the activist group also said, most times conversations of this nature die in this hall. Today I want to assure you that the conversations will not remain in this hall. And so I stand here on behalf of Plan International Nigeria Country Program. We've dovetailed now into Nigeria, right? We've been operating at global level. Permit me to dovetail into Nigeria for now. And to say three things. First, what does this mean when we say we're committed to working with young people? What does this actually mean? On behalf of the plan management in Nigeria, first let me announce that I will be exactly 1 year in post as country director on the 18th of October. That's next week. I'll be celebrating my anniversary as 1 year as country director. And to do that, I want to walk the talk around commitment with young people. And so, for the first time, for Plan Nigeria at least, we're going to have a girl takeover of my office as country director to mark that day. And there's a colleague of mine who is going to lead that process. Comfort. Yes, Comfort Umahi. Yes, okay, she's outside. Please call Comfort so that you see her. You see, I'm attaching names, personalities, so that you see their face. Now, Comfort will work with the girls' network. It's not going to be my pick. You said we should trust you. Now we want to trust you and challenge you. Girls, work together with Comfort. You will see Comfort. Comfort is our partnership manager for Plan Nigeria. She's been given the mandate by management in Nigeria. She's going to work with you. Young girls, coordinate yourselves in Nigeria and select who will be the person who will take over as Plan Country Director on the 18th of October next week. Who will be? She will take over my office, but not just for the day as a ceremonial thing. This is how interesting it gets. She will take over as country director for that day to mark that day. And it's going to be a ceremony every year for as long as I remain country director in Plan. So Comfort, come. Comfort, come. Comfort is our partnership manager in Nigeria. She's been with Plan for a while. Absolutely brilliant staff. Comfort will be assisting me with this. We've discussed. So look at her face, know her very well. Comfort is going to work with all the young girls within the networks that are already established. And Comfort, next week, 18th of October, you will be presenting the girl who will take over of my office. But now it doesn't end on that day. This is the beauty of it. Whoever becomes the girl takeover for that day will shadow me for 1 year as country director. Now, this is what will happen. Now, this is very serious. Given my position as country director, I have access to very senior level offices where we talk, the UN, government, and we negotiate things. For key events of those nature, she will accompany me into the room and she will have a say to give a perspective of young girls. I will have a one-to-one with her every month in the office just to touch base with her and to check what are the feelers, what is happening, and what else do we need to listen to. We will meet every month, once every month in the office. And she will accompany me to key strategic meetings. And she will have a seat on the table. I will do that, and I will ensure that she has her voice heard in those conversations. That's the first thing we're going to do. Thank you very much. Thank you, Comfort. The second thing we're going to do, by mandate and support from my regional director here, we discussed it while I was in Sierra Leone some few weeks ago, and he's given me the permission and the approval to set up the first of its kind youth advisory board in Nigeria. The Youth Advisory Board in Nigeria is a commitment for Plan International, and this is happening across all our offices, Anywhere Plan has an established office, this is going to accompany the operations of that office. We're going to set that up for the first time. And my colleague, Chinelo. Chinelo, please come. Chinelo is our gender and inclusion manager for Plan Nigeria. She leads all our work around gender inclusion and those level of engagement. So look at her face very well, very hardworking. She has spent some time with Plan as well, and she's done a lot of work and a lot of contribution to us. She is going to lead that process. Again, you see, I'm not getting involved. She's going to work with young people. Now, this is young people, not just girls. Young people. How do we form a board? How many people do you want in that board? How do you want that board to operate? It's all in your hands. She's going to work with you, decide, develop, agree, and when it's ready, the senior management of Plan International will commission the board and will start working. You will give us a terms of reference, we will negotiate it, and we'll agree on the term of reference. And from then on, we'll continue to work. This practice will outlive me, whether I remain here or not. Whether she remains here or not, this becomes part of Plan International Nigeria's portfolio and operation. It's going to be contained in our strategy, and it will be mentioned at every point in time. We will not do anything in Nigeria without consulting this board. This board must approve it. They must be part of it. They will be part of our project cycle. They will help us identify projects. We will work together to identify projects. We will work together to write the proposals. It's hard work, my dear. But then you say we should trust you. We are going to trust you, and we're going to work with you. Thank you very much, Comfort. And then finally, we are going to start the process of updating our strategy. Now the global strategy has been launched. We have the mandate to
what's the word? We have the mandate to contextualize it and make it Nigerian. And we'll start, it takes a while, it takes a process. It will begin with reviewing what has happened in the past, and then what are the contexts, in which we're operating today, and what is the dream. We'll set the goals and all of that. And my colleague Comfort, please come. Comfort Effiong is the M&E manager for Plan Nigeria. She leads all our work around. We've moved actually away from M&E. We call it MEL. So it's monitoring, evaluation, research, and learning. We're a learning organization. We're a listening organization. And Comfort's brilliant. She's, wow, super with managing our data. So most of the reports you see that we submit or we share online is produced by this amazing lady here. Thank you very much, Comfort, for all you do. Comfort is going to lead the process of the development of our strategy. Comfort will design a process and will get senior management involved to approve it. A significant part of that process will be engaging with young people. You will be part of the people who will help us do a review. Someone challenged us to say, you want to do consultancy for a research or something, and we'll look for, no, we're going to get young people this time. You will help us. What has it been like? Did you feel the impact of Plan over the last few years? If you want to feel it differently, what should we do? How should we articulate it? What should the strategy look like? Where should we work? With who? With what strategy? You are going to be part of that. We are going to negotiate it. I'm fierce in negotiation, to be honest, so come prepared. And so will my senior managers. So we will negotiate it. Then the moment we agree, it becomes a strategy for all of us. And then we will implement it for the next 5 years. Together, we'll hold each other accountable. It will be my dream that 5 years after, we will gather like this and say how far, how well have we done it. And then we should be able to celebrate at that point. So Comfort will lead us through that. Thank you very much, Comfort. So that is that for us in Nigeria. When you talk about commitment and trust, this is us doing it. Now, let me put a disclaimer very quickly. Remember that we're humans. We're a learning organization. We will not get everything right from the beginning. So please bear with us. I've said hold us to account. Don't see me taking a walk in the evening, trying to just get fresh, and you say, hey, there he is. You are not walking. You are not walking the talk. It means I have a life, right? It means my staff will have a life. So treat us as humans. We put ourselves at your disposal, but let's be realistic about it. Let's be honest. Let's be authentic with what is possible, with what we can do now, in the medium term and in the long term. What you will never question is my commitment to this drive. You will never question that, I can assure you. But let's be realistic. Let's keep our expectations realistic. Let's keep, the expectations in ways that, humanly speaking, it can be accounted for. So trust us and we will trust you. We're at your disposal. The other day, I put myself out, I do a lot of mentoring. And if you look at my Twitter profile, you see that I'm a life coach. I spend a lot of time doing mentoring and coaching for young people. But take advantage of it and use it well. In many instances, I put my details out, and I challenge young people. I say, use that lifeline well. If you use it well, you will always get a response from me. But if you have a lifeline to me or to my CEO and to the board chair, and you ask me, you chat me and you ask me if I've eaten, I wonder how that benefits anybody, because that has been the experience. I get young people chatting me up and say, how are you? I'm fine. How are you doing? Fine. Have you eaten? And I'm like, okay. How many of these am I going to respond to? So I'm challenging you. I'm giving you access. Please use it well. Let's use it well. If you have a question, ask me. If you need an introduction, talk to me. That's what we're here for. And this is not just me. My senior managers are here. The senior management team of Plan International is here. Talk to us. We should help. But we're human beings. Respect that we're humans, and there's only so much we can do. Now, this is me being human and being realistic around the commitment we're putting forward. And I do that on behalf of my team. So I thank you today for the time you've given to us. I am grateful for the commitment you have shown, for being in this hall with us, and for all of those who've joined us online. I thank you very much for this opportunity to share this experience with you at this point in time. It will remain memorable in our heads and in our hearts. We will carry these thoughts and the images of what has happened today. We will carry it especially in our hearts. Thank you very much. please and please, let's make use of the next another 1 hour in the hall as we have lunch together. I'm excited and I'm looking forward to that. Let's eat and let's continue the talk. Thank you very much, and I wish us a brilliant day.
Thank you very much, sir. Let's appreciate him one more time. It's not easy to bring all the people and the faces, putting faces to the assignment, telling you, hold us accountable, but do it responsibly, like he said. And just before we, Mr. Stevie Nomo, I feel like this is another curveball, but you're going to give us a closing remark in 30 seconds. All right. So there's going to be a marketplace thing here. Marketplace 4 p.m. tomorrow. It's going to be global. Physically present here and virtually also between 4 and 6, where young girls will have a lot to display and share. So you're encouraged to please join or be here tomorrow for that. So let's yes, happening here tomorrow. Oh, marketplace by girls from over 17 countries, actually. That's huge. And well, this is where we hear from the CEO himself. The closing remark, please, let's welcome him. Yes.
Never let anyone tell you that it is impossible. In solidarity, together we join hands in saying, yes, it is possible. Thank you very much for being our champions for that. Thank you.
And yes, officially come to a close. But remember, 1 hour interaction, chat over lunch from this point on. Thank you very much, and it's been a great honor being here, your moderator for today. Thanks to Plan International and to everyone here. I appreciate you.
Please lunch yourself. Please, let's go over there. Just walk, stand up, walk over there. There are people who guide you. Let's have lunch. Let's continue the conversation. Thank you very much.